built a tower made of paper and lies, stacked it high with the liar's disguise. But the wind's picking up, gonna blow it all down. A reckoning's coming to this hollow town. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. They sold our steel, they stole our land, turned the worker into a begging hand. But the wheels are turning, the fire's alive. We're taking back what's rightfully mine. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. Ghosts of the past whisper through the trees. Swamp runs deep, but it's begging to freeze. Freedom ain't given, it's a fight to the bone. Stand your ground or be overthrown. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do. Our work to do. Ghosts of the past whisper through the trees. Swamp runs deep, but it's begging to freeze. Freedom ain't given, it's a fight to the bone. Stand your ground or be overthrown. Tear it down, burn it up, let the light shine through. Trump's got the hammer, Musk lights the fuse. No more chains, no deep state blues. The eagle's screaming, we got work to do.
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Friday, and it's been a happy Friday, right? Right, everyone? What's going on? Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, man? Hey, Commander. Wow, you're here early, brother. I'm on. And Streaky, what's going on, Streaky? Jimmy, bro. My brother, Jimmy. Dr. Jade will be here in an hour, like last week. He's kind of busy with family stuff. Simon, what's going on? Yeah, Jeremiah's not going to join us, but he said yo, which is good. I'm glad you're here too, Streaky. Believe me. Let's see. What else we got? Who else? I guess other people will come in. All right. So by now, I know you finally got here early. I know. I love that, man. I think everybody knows what a lot of the topic's going to be today. Hey, what's up, Bess? Good to see you, man. I think everybody knows that we're going to go over the White House Zelensky affair, right? So, wow. It makes you wonder, man, because you don't put anything past them, but did some of the as Trump said, that stupid president, did some of his people like talk Zelensky into doing that. It's like, my goodness, what the hell was he thinking? Let's go over some of the stuff we're going to talk about. And this was all before, that oh man, that Oval Office explosion. So here we go. The top one is the tranche of Epstein files released. Here's what we learned and didn't learn. It was a whole lot of nothing because deep staters kept a lot of the stuff. Here's FBI withheld thousands of pages of the documents, and she said she's demanding them to be turned over. She went to the FBI and said, "Cash, come on, what the fuck?" So here we go. Impeach it. This is great. I've been saying all week, every time one of those Jacobin judges, when the Democrats lost all power, they lost the House, they lost the Senate, they lost a lot of governorships, legislatures. They don't have the Supreme Court because they only have 3 knuckleheads up there, and so they have no power. They have no power at all. So what are they doing? They're getting leftist judges to commit lawfare on Trump left and right, and they don't have the right to do that. Like I said before, a judge has the right to say, "Hey, you're doing something wrong. You're breaking the law," but they don't have a right to say, "I don't like that policy." And they'll say, "Oh, well, it gives a disparate impact." F you. I don't care. And so I've been saying, hey, here's how you do it. You get some balls growing in the House, Republicans, and you impeach them. You impeach one, just one. And then you send them over to the Senate, and they try them, they convict them, and they remove them, and then they all break for lunch. And when you do that, I think the rest of them will start to respect Articles 1 and 2 and 3, because they don't respect the Constitution if they think that they're going to break the separation of powers just to try to stop Trump from doing what's in his Article 2 authority, right? So on this one, impeaching activist judges takes too long. And he's right. If you do it my way. I mean, it says there will be a trial. They can start the trial at 7 a.m. and they can end it at noon. They could do it. I mean, if Chuck Schumer can take articles of impeachment against Alejandro Mayorkas that were legitimate and crumple them up and throw them in the trash, literally, and say, these are ridiculous, I'm not going to entertain them, then I guess the Republicans, if they grew a pair of balls in the Senate, they could say, okay, we'll have a trial and it'll be from 7 to noon, then we'll vote, and then after we convict, we'll vote to remove and put some other penalties on, right? And then the judges will all get their asses in line. Here we go. Supreme Court backs Trump over judicial interference. This was my video. I wrote the piece. I know it's kind of lame to read your own piece, but I thought it was good. A lot more in there than there is in the video. FBI launches probe into Comey's alleged honeypot operations targeting Trump campaign. I think that's just the beginning. I think that they're going to actually go after him for his FISA court abuse, because he signed 3 of the 4 FISA warrants, and knowing that they were bullshit. I mean, just knowing they were bullshit. Trump intended to humiliate Zelensky. Yeah, I know they're saying that. Jim, did you think they'd say anything else? Seriously, wait a minute. Oh, quick, important question. Keyboard on my laptop is acting goofy. Put in a different characters and I type. Any help would be great. Yeah, that's like when I find out, when I go to a party and people find out I'm actually a programmer, they go, "Oh man," they tell me stuff like that. I go, "Yeah, you got to call a tech guy." So the keyboard on your laptop is acting goofy, putting in different characters than what I type. It could be your character reference is off. Did you reboot your PC, unplug it, and plug it back in? That usually helps. But you do have you on a lot of keyboards. What are you using? Windows 11? On a lot of keyboards. Hey, what's up, Pam? Hey, Chris. Yeah, hard reboot. Exactly. Hey, Pam. Good to see you. So Pam is a dear friend of mine, by the way, guys. So I know you guys are always nice to everybody, but she's a dear friend. Let me see who else. It could be you are drunk and seeing different letters. That is a possibility. That is. All right, so let's get back to Pentagon orders discharge of transgenders. Yes, they finally did. Here you go. This will shock the F out of you. Doge takes a bite out of U.S. aid. They were sending money to not one, but multiple terrorist groups. Unbelievable. A whistleblower came out. And then here's the left's fake empire is crumbling. That's another one. that I did that I think is better than the video. So when that came out, when the Zelensky thing, as it was happening, I went, holy shit. So I put all these up here, which are all these ones up top here. They're all videos, different clips, but I found the full video, full 11 minutes that was aired. There was a lot more behind the scenes, and I don't know if they're going to release that though. But my take on it, guys, I don't know how you felt if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. Windows 10, hard reboot, unplug battery, uninstall keyboard driver. Oh, did you update the keyboard driver, or let me see. New keyboard? Is it a USB? Well, we don't want that, dude. We don't want it like Biden's been typing. No, Mr. Potato Head on your computer. Holy mackerel. Yeah, dude, I would say try a different. If you have another keyboard, plug that in and see if that works. Otherwise, it could be. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Good to see you, man. Yeah, if Commander, if another keyboard works, then your keyboard's effed. Just you got to buy another one. That's what I'm saying. So, oh, it's a Panasonic Toughbook. Unfortunately, I don't know what that is. Is that the keyboard, or is it your? Wait a minute. Oh, it's a laptop. Oh, because it says book, it means it's a laptop. Oof. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Anglo? Good to see you, man. All right, let's get on with this. Let's see. Do we have enough people in here? Yeah, we got enough people to play it. So I'm going to play the actual video. And you know me, I can't shut up when things are playing. Somebody says something stupid or funny or vindictive. So I'll try my best to get us through the whole thing. But let's go present. Let's do this. Now, you know what I can do? I can do this. I can do that. So let's do present, share screen, breaking news. Here we go. Let's go up and over. Okay, if you guys missed this, this. I have never seen anything like this. What Zelensky did is he started. All right, let me give the premise of it in case there's some people here that don't know what's going on. We spent, thanks to who Trump called the stupid president, Joe Biden, we spent, I think $200 billion, something like that over there. And they'll say it's a lot less. And Zelensky says it was $100 billion, but we only got half. So the lefties are all saying, well, Trump's trying to get our minerals. Well, yeah, because, and all right, so we're getting minerals out of Ukraine in a deal that was supposed to be signed today that wasn't signed. Okay. But in that deal, we were going to mine for their minerals. And it was to help. And those minerals are used for weaponry. They're used for a lot of things, right? And it was to help pay back what we gave them. See, Biden never, like the European countries, when they gave money to Ukraine, it was basically a loan. You're going to pay us back. Biden never said that. Now, he never said it was a gift either, but he never said that. So stupid Joe Biden, he goes and gives all of our money with no payback, nothing, right? Because I personally think because it became the Democrats' ATM machine or their piggy bank, if you will. They were getting stuff out of it. But anyway, so the good thing about this, though, see, Zelensky went in with a chip on his shoulder. Oh, you're getting my money. No, what's going on is, think about this, guys. If the United States signs this deal, right, this was brilliant. So we're going to get the minerals, and they're going to chalk it up. They're going to rack up the cost to about $200 billion, which is a lot of minerals. But at the same time, it means that the United States now went in on an enterprise with the country of Ukraine, which means if any other country attacks Ukraine, you are, in fact, attacking the United States and NATO. So it would have provided tremendous security. Yeah, I know. It would have provided tremendous security for Ukraine. And it's like Zelensky didn't care. But the way he's behaving is like a spoiled child. I mean, first of all, he shows up in the Oval Office in his usual Army Navy store attire instead of a suit. That's disrespectful. Linda, how you doing? All right, so I'm just going to play it now, and I'll probably chime in, but I'll try not to.
I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
It's a reporter.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal.
Listen to what he says.
Say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I can be tougher than
Now tell me, at any point was Trump being an a-hole throughout this? All he's basically saying is, look, you guys in the lefty news, you always bitch and complain saying that I want to favor Putin. Well, I have to talk to him, and I have to talk to him if we're going to get a deal, because he just said they both hate each other. So he's basically saying, I got to talk to both. I got to be the mediator. He shouldn't have to explain that to them, but they ask stupid questions in the hopes that Trump will say something in response to that. They cut out the stupid question to just show him going off. So he knows it now.
Any human being you've ever seen, I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin. And then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Here we go.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know
Obama.
what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but,
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022,
Listen to this.
The situation the same. That people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction.
Let me say this. What he just asked JD was something that's supposed to be done behind the scenes before they come out in front of the world of cameras, because every news source is here, okay? And the ones that aren't here, they're going to get it from feeds like this, right? So he goes and basically says, when JD talked about diplomacy, he goes basically, so what kind of diplomacy are you talking about? Holy mackerel. That's just not done. You don't do that. You don't go into someone else's house and do that.
Of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you saved problems?
Do you hear this shit?
I have been to.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Like, in other words, he's questioning the vice president again inside the Oval Office.
Come once.
I've actually
Look at this. You've come
watched
once
and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda.
Look at the look
tour,
on his
Mr.
face.
President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering all these
position to
questions.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're
doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel
I'm-
very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
Guys, he's arguing with the president of the United States when he's asking for money or for the war to be ended. And where do you hear some of the stuff that Trump said?
yourself to be in a
From
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right
From
about
the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not in a
Mr.
good
Graham,
position.
I
You don't
was-
have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling with
Him, I don't have. I'm not playing card.
the
President
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World.
Do you see, Zelensky won't shut the fuck up, right? Trump's trying to talk to him, and he won't shut up. Keeps
War
talking
III.
through him.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
I'm very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October.
He did.
Offer some words of appreciation
Harris.
for the United States
What
of
are you speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please. You think
Now, do you guys notice the dynamic here? Obama did not like his vice president, Joe Biden. Joe Biden did not like Kamala Harris, right? So, I mean, Reagan did not like George H.W., right? But these two get along like brothers, man. Because JD interrupted a couple times now, and Trump just went, go for it. Because they're on the same wavelength. See, most of the time, you pick a vice president because you have a weakness among a certain group, among a certain demographic of voters, right? And you want to strengthen that. So Obama picked the train wreck because he was old. He could get old people, right? He was known as Lunchbox Joe. Even that was all horseshit. But these two, they're like the perfect team together.
that if you will speak
Same
very
wavelength.
loudly about the war, you
He's
can
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I-
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
your
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you
He
didn't
won't
have
shut
our
up.
military equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak
have our military equipment,
Oh.
this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
in 3
okay?
days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
Did you hear that? I heard it from Putin. In other words, you're a puppet of Putin. He's getting all the little digs in.
This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
That's the first warning that Trump gave him, but it went over his head. It's going to be very hard to do business this way. That was a warning from Trump saying, I don't like what you're doing here. Knock it off.
Said a lot of
Except
times
that there-
same
except
to
that-
American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong.
I personally think some a-hole in the Biden administration the leftovers. I personally think that someone told him to do this for them. I do. Because why else would this clown come in and do this, knowing? Now, maybe he wants the war to continue because he thinks that, well, the United States will have to give money. Well, guess what? He lost Lindsey Graham. Hey, yeah, he lost Lindsey. Lindsey basically came out and said Zelensky's got to go. And he said Donald Trump gave a masterclass in how to stand up for America as a leader. All right? You lose Lindsey in a war, you done fucked up.
We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire.
Now, did you hear that? None of the press is going to say that he told him, I don't want a ceasefire. And apparently he did. So he doesn't want a ceasefire. And watch what Trump says to him about that.
I want to go, and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Is that not common sense? Take the ceasefire while we work on the solution. Take the ceasefire.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than.
You see that? He just said the part that's pissing everybody off. He said, I want guarantees. Who the hell is he to dictate to the United States that he wants guarantees? Do you remember the time when he came over and he demanded, he talked to Congress in that stupid outfit and he demanded more money? And the Democrats who were in charge, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Can we kiss your ass?
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets.
He did. Obama was asked, what are you going to do for this? And he gave them sheets, like for a bed. He gave them sheets. But then we found out after he was out that, you remember when the Pentagon came out, and I think they said there was like $12 billion that went missing, something like that. We found out that Obama took that 12 million from the Pentagon and he funded he was holding a proxy war against Russia, right? And this was in Crimea, right? So he was running a proxy war where he was funding munitions for the Ukrainians to fight. But he never told Congress. He didn't tell Congress he was doing it. You have to, if Congress appropriates money for a specific thing, the commander-in-chief just can't take money out of it and put it towards something, a foreign government, without telling Congress, hey, I'd like to do this. And they could say, well, no. Or they could say, well, no, we'll reappropriate other money for it. Or they could say, go ahead. But he never even asked them because he was Barack Obama. Remember, they thought that he shit ice cream and rainbows.
In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have.
He's basically telling him, you have no one who's going to help you right now, because Europe is about done sending you money, right? We're going to help you with the deal that we have here, but you're giving us a load of shit. That's what he's telling him, and he's not listening.
Cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
Yeah.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks ceasefire?
Listen to this.
What will you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation.
She said, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire? That's what she's trying to get out.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know.
Even Zelensky started to laugh at that one.
They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
It's true.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt.
Listen to this.
Where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden.
You know, nobody ever comes out with that perspective. Our media certainly didn't. They all know that the Russia thing was funded by Hillary, right? Perkins Coie threw the money over at Fusion GPS, who then went Christopher Steele, all the bullshit, right? But Vladimir Putin was blamed in that too. Now everybody knew it was bullshit, but when you get accused of doing something like that, you may lose out on deals for your country that you're trying to make, you know, with people that aren't allies, but they're not exactly your enemy. You want to do deals with them, right? He could have lost things through that. I got no love for Putin, but I mean, he went through shit too. And it was all a lie. And everybody in that room just about was in on it. But the one that was in on it the worst was that little prick right there. Because And Trump knows this while he's negotiating with him. Zelensky knew that the whole Russia thing was fake. How do we know that? Because when he was elected, okay, then he was elected after Petro Poroshenko left. And Zelensky knew that Trump had a personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. So he got his counterpart, his Rudy Giuliani, personal attorney, to reach out to our State Department and say, I would like to meet with Rudy Giuliani. Can we do that on behalf of our president, our client? And they said, yeah, go ahead. So what happens? They meet in Spain, right? The media never wants to talk about this. So they meet in Spain to have a neutral place, right? And the guy hands over all the dirt on the Democrats, what they were doing in Ukraine, especially Joe Biden. Now, it wasn't all the dirt on Biden because there was a lot that Zelensky knew, but he couldn't get for Trump, okay? And so that's how Rudy Giuliani knew all that stuff. Remember, he used to say, oh, it was a total ripoff and this, that, and the other thing. He was talking about all the crap that went on. The Black Ledger was fake. But here's the thing. Zelensky knew all of that. Zelensky knew about the Black Ledger. The Black Ledger was what got Paul Manafort in prison because they said, oh, we found this Black Ledger and it has all these things in there, all the money that Manafort got for the Trump administration. The Black Ledger was completely fabricated in Ukraine. Zelensky knew it. He wasn't in on it, but he knew it. And he didn't say jack shit. All he had to do was step up and say, the Black Ledger's phony. That was done by left-wing operatives inside my country, oligarchs and all that didn't want Trump to get in because it would have stopped the corruption in Ukraine. That's what they feared. And he never did. And Trump, nay, the country, nay, the fucking world had to go through all that constitutional crisis of Russia. And so Trump's sitting here probably wanting to choke this little prick. But he's not going to do that in front of the cameras, right? But he's got to listen to this guy become a smartass on the Russia shit. So this is why he's talking here now.
Scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war.
What's up, brother? What's up, 42?
And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had
Sentiment?
nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's
What's up, man?
bathroom.
How you doing, guys?
It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom.
Hey, Sheila.
It was disgusting.
What's up, girlfriend?
And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The
Look
whole
at
thing was a
Zelensky.
scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal.
It's because he fears Trump. He said that. If you remember, Trump said to him when he had his troops, he had Spetsnaz or whatever the hell they're called, their top people. He had them down in an airport in Syria, and Assad approved them being there. And Trump said, I don't like your guys there because we're doing stuff down. I don't like your guys going in there. He goes, I want them out. And he said, if you don't get them out, I'm going to do something. And Putin said, I don't believe you. And so he dropped the mother of all bombs, an MOAB, on that airport, killed all of them. And so about 2 weeks later, nothing happened. Like there was no retaliation from Russia. So reporters went up to Putin and said, what are you going to do about that? And he said, nothing. They're like, why? And he goes, Trump is too unpredictable. We have no idea what he would do. There you go. So they respect him. Okay. They respect him and they fear him. Do you think they had that kind of fear for Barack Obama? Do you think they had any fear whatsoever? Their fear when they were around Biden was that they would laugh in front of a camera. Trust me.
The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out.
He's basically telling them there, fuck around, find out. That's what he's telling them. Because if you don't make this deal, we're out.
You don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position.
He is, because like I explained earlier, if they sign the deal and we go for the minerals, so they pay us back to 200 to 300 billion. Well, he even knocked it down. I think he knocked it down to like 50 billion, like just to be generous. But that's not the point for the deal. The point of the deal is if the United States now has an official, the government has an official contract with the government of Ukraine over that mineral stuff, is any country going to attack Ukraine with the United States in there? Don't think so, especially with Trump at the helm as the commander-in-chief. No, not at all. So he's trying to tell him, dude, you could end the war. I let you go on the money, except for the amount we're going to take, but you're going to have security. It's all about security, right? That's why he wanted Greenland, security, right? Canada, same thing. No offense to our Canadian brothers, but we'd love to have you as a territory.
You're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
It's going to be great television.
We'll see
All right, the rest is, well, let's see.
what we can do about putting it
All right, the rest of it's bullshit. Now, you guys must have heard, though, that ever since that, that Trump canceled the press conference, right? He canceled it, and he kicked him out of the White House. He kicked Zelensky out of the White House. I heard that. I was like, oh, my God, did he really? Yeah, he did. He told Waltz, I think it's Mike Waltz, he told him, get him out of here. And, yeah, make annexation great again. Yeah. So he told him, get out, get him out. And then he said, get his motorcade up here. And Waltz walked him to the door, didn't shake hands, just said, there you go, goodbye, and turned around and walked back into the White House. Now, from what I hear, I don't know if it's true. I haven't had it corroborated, but from what I hear, Zelensky wrote a statement, and it was kind of like a mea culpa. I'm sorry things worked out this way. But Trump, he put out, let me see if I can find it. He put out a thing on Truth. Hang on, where am I? Yeah, he put a truth statement out. That I want to, come on, open up. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. Come on. Give it to me. No. I can't find it. But he put a statement out on Truth, basically saying, well, it was a good meeting, but he doesn't want peace. That's what he basically said. Oh, you know what I can do? Yeah. Go to my Facebook page and get it there. Yeah, because I want to read this. It was a pretty good statement. Okay, here it is. Let's go back to here, to here. Okay, there we go. All right. So Trump said, a statement from President Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want an advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Now, there's several things going on here, guys. One of them, though, when he said he disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. I've never heard a Democrat in my lifetime say something like that with reverence. Ronald Reagan used to say that he revered the Oval Office so much that he couldn't go in there. He couldn't be in there without wearing a jacket. Now, of course, we found out that Bill Clinton couldn't keep his pants on in the same room, but you get my gist, right? So you had him saying that, and then he also said, like, everybody says, oh, he's a tyrant, right? He's a tyrant. He's just going to walk away because he wants to make the millions on his own, right? Well, that's not true, because in there he said if he wants peace, he can come back. Hey, what's up, Spanish Chicken? How you doing, bro? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Scruffy appearance, yeah. So Donald Trump basically said, okay, so you know what? We had a good talk. We learned a lot from that. He's not ready for peace. When he is, he can come back. That's basically what he said. And so I think tail between the legs happened about an hour and a half later when Zelensky gave a statement. But I can't find the statement, but I heard it on Bongino's show today. How about Bongino, man? We lost Bongino, but it's good for the country. So he's given up everything. How about that, to become the deputy director of the FBI? That's crazy, man. But, you know, when the president says, I need you, you don't say no. Unless he's a Democrat, of course. But anyway, so, all right. So that out of the way. That was fire today, man. Guys, that was just awesome watching that. And it was true that JD and Trump basically tried to tell him, dude, we're doing you a favor, right? We're actually doing your ass a favor, and you're giving us a hard time. Probably because he was so used to 4 years of demanding money, and Mr. Potato Head, the boiled potato brain, Biden, which is okay, because, you know, a percentage of that was going back to the DNC probably. Just unreal. Most of your best friends are tyrants. Okay, there you go. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Hey, we're at a record high. I'm going to screenshot it. We got 33 people in here. God bless you all. Hey, guys, if you haven't already, do me a favor. Can you please hit the like button? Because it helps us somehow with the algorithm. If you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Let's see. What are we going to do? Let's pick. Let's go back here. Present arms. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right. Let's get into the Epstein stuff, because I know everybody wants to see that. Okay. So the tranche, or is it tranche? It's the tranche of Epstein files released. Here's what we learned and what we didn't from PJ Media. Okay. All right. On Thursday, following through on a campaign promise, the Trump administration released documents related to the notorious predator, Jeffrey Epstein. You could have inserted Bill Clinton. But Attorney General Pam Bondi previously described the scale of Epstein's abuse as sick, confirming over 250 victims. Trump signed an executive order on his third day in office, ordering the release of the Epstein files. And many have been wondering when they'd come out, or even if they would. The delay. See, the problem is so many people were like, when am I going to hear? When am I going to fucking hear? Then you finally hear that Trump's interested in releasing it. You go, But I had to tell people myself, like, you know, there are victims, right? Think about this, guys. There are victims of this guy. And they're probably mostly now young adults, if not, like, you know, older. But the fact is, hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Bess. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with you guys last week. It was great last Saturday. But think about this. So if these rich people that are on the list, if they can get to Jeffrey Epstein inside a fucking prison, what makes you think they can't get these people that are going to be witnesses to put them in prison? So they got to be careful of how they release this info. Like there could be inside the document, you're going to see redactions, because inside the documents, you know, the FBI wrote the victims' addresses. You have to in the 302, right? You got to do that. You got to write everything you heard in the 302 report. And so they're going to have to redact it to protect those people, right? What's up, Hasdak? Good to see you. And so that's why it's going to take Pam Bondi more than a week, right, or a month even, to get all of it out. But now she's complaining, from what I understand, she's complaining. I'll go back to the article. She's complaining that a lot of the documents were taken. And now we hear from other people that the Pentagon and the FBI are actually, they're deleting shit off their servers, even though they've been given an order not to. And Cash hasn't gotten to them yet because he's doing other stuff. There's formalities you got to go through when you take over. And so here they're deleting shit left and right. It's a felony, but nobody cares. On their side, nobody cares. All right, Trump signed an executive order. Okay. Numerous high-profile figures have been linked to Jeffrey Epstein, with records and reports confirming that many flew in his private jet to his infamous island, Little St. James, otherwise known as Pedophile Island. Among them is former President Bill Clinton. What was it, 23 times or something? I forget the number. More than two, who took multiple flights on Epstein's plane, though he insists he never visited the island, along with Prince Andrew, who also never visited the island, but they have pictures with them with the Guinevere or whatever her name was. Microsoft founder Bill Gates has also been suspected of making the trip. So what did the documents say? Are these the documents? Holy shit. Yeah, they are. Holy crap. Disclaimer. All right, I want to close the disclaimer. So here's all the oh, crap. All right, we're going to have to go over them later on. So let's go back to this. All right, well, I'll put that link down below later on. Well, unfortunately, this drop doesn't appear to have what many of us were hoping for. We were expecting to see flight logs indicating which celebrities, politicians, and other high-profile individuals flew on the Lolita Express to Jeffrey Epstein's private island, as well as other evidence linking these individuals to crimes against victims. Right. You got to worry about the victims is what I'm saying. Yeah, I want to see the shit too. Enough of that one. I want to see, the dirt too, but they have to basically make sure these people aren't going to get whacked. Right. There you go. I humbly offer my services to motivate Director Gabbard's expedited response in this issue. Yes, me too. Okay. If that's you, Nelson. Clinton Foundation. Yep. Clinton Foundation Laundering Service. That's correct. That is correct. Look what they did to Haiti, man. Anyway, let's go back. Let's see. What's the next one? Let's see. All right. So here's where she explains that the FBI, ready? FBI withheld thousands of pages of Jeffrey Epstein docs. You know why? Because Democrat politicians were involved, Pam Bondi says, and she's demanding they be turned over. Yeah. Wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which fills up first, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi revealed Thursday that thousands of pages of documents in the FBI's investigation into the sex trafficker, let's be honest, he was a honeypot guy for the CIA and the Mossad and whatever the German equivalent to all that was. He worked for multiple countries. I mean, this was in the book, One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. She pointed out that these kind of guys, like his choice to nail important people and say, we now own you, you're going to do what we tell you, was to have them come to the orgy island, wuff the fufta with little kids. And they were filmed, cameras every which way. And they say, we got you. They show you the video, and now you're theirs. That was his job. That's what he did. And she's demanded that they be turned over by Friday morning. I don't think they came. Bondi 59. Why do they got to mention that? Bondi 59 disclosed on a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, a tipster said that all but approximately 200 pages of documents were still being kept secret at the FBI's office in New York. Despite, you know who it is? It's the Southern District. It's the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, which is the most powerful one in the entire region, not just New York. Okay. They get all the big cases, and they're the ones that are behind this, and they're Democrats. It has nothing to do with, and they're all saying, well, why is Kash not getting it? Kash Patel, he just got in. They expect him to know everything right away, right? So he's got to get his feet planted because he's doing all kinds of other shit to try to straighten them out. So she's asking the FBI for it. The initial batch included flight logs, really, phone numbers, and names of victims But a source in the FBI's New York office reached out and said that hundreds additional documents were not included. How about that? So Bondi says by 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, which is today, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents. Never say that with this bunch, because you don't know if you're going to get all audio and video recordings and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. So, yeah, we're all kind of bummed out about it, but I don't blame Pam Bondi for it. I don't. She wanted it. She asked for it. You just had to know that. I mean, people that are going to delete evidence against themselves, do you really trust them to send over all the documents? I certainly don't. Let's see what else. I'll put that link down later. Oh, this is great. All right. So I keep saying you got to impeach one of these judges, because I said at the beginning, for people who weren't here, what's going on is it's lawfare by judges because the Democrats lost all their powers. So the only thing they can do is get a judge to come in and say, hey, just shoot him down, and he has to go through all the appellate to get to the Supreme Court. It'll be 18 months. He can't do shit. So the Trump administration is basically giving them the double barrel and saying, no, we're not going to do that this time around. You guys we'll file, but we're going to continue doing it. And the Supreme Court just sent a message. All right. John Roberts got the case because it was in D.C. And so I believe that's where he handles those cases. And so he basically said, until we get to actually see this case, because we have other things on the docket, until we do, I'm going to slam that order down. So he said, Trump, you can continue. What the judge wanted to do was to stop Trump from withholding federal aid or foreign aid, federal foreign aid, right? Trump said, no, there's $2 billion we're not sending out because it's bullshit. And just like U.S. aid, And so this judge said, no, you got to do it. Who the hell is a judge, right? The judge doesn't understand separation of powers, right? That's what my video today was all about. I mean, he doesn't understand separation of powers, obviously, but here, this is great. I'm going to bring this up. It's a piece about Mike Lee. He's in the Senate. I'd like to see him on the Supreme Court. Impeaching activist judges take too long. Mike Lee has a much better idea, and I like this idea. America has more than 200 district court judges, which are federal court judges. Can you imagine that? Like these assholes on the left. Trump had nearly 80 million people vote for me. It's 77.2 million people who voted for him, right? And which is the largest amount anyone's ever gotten. Joe Biden did not get 81 million. He got 81 million ballots, but he didn't get that many votes. But a Republican anyway, 77 million people. And so these clowns on the left think that, one judge, an unelected bureaucrat, that's all a judge is, a federal judge, he's an unelected bureaucrat, that he has the authority to shut down the will of 77 million Americans who voted for exactly what Trump is doing. And Trump so far has done nothing that's not within his Article 2 presidential authority. So I think it was Scott Jennings on CNN the other day said, so Donald Trump has to deal with 200 district judges who each one's going to hit him, and he can't govern? Bullshit. So America has more than 200 district court judges, yet somehow many of them seem to believe their tiny little gavels give them veto power over the presidency. It's true. And you know what? It's because there's no consequences for them. And the left is exploiting this judicial free-for-all at every turn. I think we got to start protesting outside their houses, right? Of course, conservatives aren't going to do anything, but we need to sing songs. We need to sing songs outside these guys' houses at 3 a.m, just like they did to Kavanaugh and the conservative court, right? The conservatives on the court. We need to start doing crap like that. Turn on a radio real loud, get arrested for it, whatever. And the left is exploiting this judicial free-for-all at every turn. Every time President Trump tries to enforce DOGE, immigration laws, protection election integrity, or implement America First policy, some random activist judge pops up and blocks it nationwide. This is not how the system was designed to work. And if it isn't stopped, it could spiral into full-blown constitutional crisis. And that's exactly what MAGA influencer Charlie Kirk was warning about. So he said it's a looming major crisis. It is. But to get a sense of just how out of control these activist judges are, take a look at one of their latest stunts, just one of many. In this case, the federal judge, who was a Biden-appointed judge, ordered Trump administration to cough up hundreds of millions of dollars to it was hundreds of, I thought it was $2 billion of dollars to foreign aid contractors and gave them just 36 hours to do it. On top of that, he's now demanding answers about whether his ruling is being fully obeyed. All right? Look at these losers. So if you're wondering who the progressive judge is, he's a Canadian doozy. So it says 39-year-old Canadian-born Amir Haytham. You gotta love that. The jokes just write themselves. Amir Haytham Mahdi Ali, the first Muslim and Arab DC judge, clerked on the Supreme Court of Canada and later led a radical left-wing group that called for defunding of police. In the lame duck session after Democrats lost the White House and Senate on November 5, 2024, Senate Democrats confirmed Ali on November 20 with a vote of 50-49. There he is. There's the guy. Look, frame that for your dartboards, right? Get a picture of that on your dartboard, right? So let's see. Where's Mike? When people see this activist judge crisis, their first instinct is impeachment. What? And we get it. On paper, it's a solid plan. In fact, it worked perfectly in El Salvador, which faced the same problem that we're dealing with now. President Bukele, took action, impeaching leftist activist judges. And just like that, his law and order agenda was finally able to take root and deliver real results for his citizens. Let's get down to. Okay. So, that's where Senator Mike Lee comes in. After seeing Charlie Kirk's warning on X, he responded and made it perfectly clear that he's working on a game-changing bill to strip district activist judges of the power to issue nationwide injunctions against the U.S. government. There you go. That's a permanent fix we can implement quickly to shut down the left's latest judicial weaponization. And people will now say, well, how does the one branch of the legislation, how do they get to tell the judges? Well, because it's actually in the Constitution. You see, in the Constitution, in Article 3, actually, it says that the Congress has the power to tell the judges what kind of cases they can and cannot hear, which means that they also have the power to tell them something like this. You can't do a ruling that will go nationwide. You can't do it to shut down a president, especially when he's implementing something that's within his executive branch authority. Okay, so I think Mike Lee's is perfect, and that would handle it. Now, will the judges adhere to it? Who the hell knows? I mean, Democrats don't like to adhere to the law, but they'll say that nobody's above the law, in their little bullshit speeches. Dershowitz say he got a massage with his pants on Epstein. It was something like that. Yeah. He argued for the longest time, Jimmy. He said, if I remember correctly, he said there is a video where some lawyer has exculpatory information about him, and he said, but the Democrats won't release it. It was the Obama; they wouldn't release it, and so I think Trump actually released it, and he was vindicated on that. Let's see. That's been the solution to many in the UK. Form new ones and bypass and replace the existing ones. Yeah, but it's a little tougher for us to do here. See, I remember when Terry Schiavo down in Florida. You guys remember that case when that leftist judge down in Florida, Judge Green, he allowed her husband wanted her to die. And they said that she was brain dead, even though she had conversations every day in the hospital with her nurses, right? She had conversations with them. She would laugh with them when they were telling she was not brain dead, okay? Many people believe that she became the way she was because he tried to kill her with a pillow and she almost suffocated to death and all that. Neither here nor there. But what happened there was the judge allowed the husband to put her in a different hospital, and then they would take out all sources of nourishment and let her die. And that's a painful death to die that way. And one of the nurses testified. She asked her, "Do you want to die?" And she shook her head and said, "No." It was like, no, but it was weird. But she said, "No, I want to live." Right. So much for being brain dead. She understood the question and she gave, a valid response. And so what happened was the Republicans said, "All right, we're gonna help the parents who were trying to keep her alive. We're gonna help." And see, the judge went with the husband instead of the parents, right? Who knew her a hell of a lot longer, but that's what they said the law was in Florida. So what happened was they said, "Well, we're going to take you into federal court." So the federal judge, who was a Democrat, he said, "I don't have jurisdiction for that." And they were like, "Oh, you're right." And so it was Tom DeLay, all right? He went and said, "Okay, you're right." So he goes into Congress, into the House, and he says, "All right, we're going to vote now that we're going to give jurisdiction to the federal government so that a judge in the federal government can hear this case when it comes to life and death." And he gave the reasoning inside the Constitution, right, in Article 1, Section 8. And so the Senate then passed it. President signed it. So they go back to court, and the judge is sitting there, and they go, "Your Honor, here it is. You're allowed to hear this case now." And the judge looks at it, and he reads, and he goes, "You don't have the authority to do this." And they're stunned. I would have been like, "How long have you been sitting on that bench, dude?" And so they told him exactly where it was in the Constitution. And the judge said, "Well, the Constitution doesn't exist inside this courtroom." I'll never forget it. Right. So that's what you're dealing with when you got these freaking judges that think that they can stop a president from doing policy. It's one thing when a president, when they say, "Well, you're breaking the law," like they did to Joe Biden when they said, "Stop, you're not allowed to forgive student loan debt." Right. Because they don't do that. Well, they did send their people over there. And plus, there's a U.S. attorney in that office now who's not a Democrat. They replaced them. But it's like, Jim, how do you stop the FBI from deleting servers when you don't know where the servers are, first of all, and you tell them not to through emails and texts and all that and phone calls, but they do it anyway? The smallest island, Isle of Man, UK, is looking at the first abuse. Yeah. Euthanasia laws. Yeah. Yeah. But, and they let her die, by the way. They let Terry Schiavo die. I was married to a girl who was really good friends with her because she lived up here in PA, in Hatboro. And she said she knew the husband and he was a complete total asshole. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah. Really bad. So next one. Let's go down. Here we go. This, guys, I've been waiting years for this one. Oh. Here we go. FBI launches probe into James Comey's alleged honeypot operations targeting the Trump campaign. Now, I would rather they go after him for the FISA abuse because that's a higher penalty. He signed 3 of the 4 FISA warrants, knowing they were full of shit. How do we know they know? Because he was one of the people, and so was Andy McCabe, his deputy, which is what Bongino's going to do now, his job. And so was that Weissman, Andy Weissman, who's a slimeball lawyer, right, for the Democrats. They were all in the same meeting when Bruce Orr, who was the deputy assistant attorney general at the time, and he sat them all down in a conference room, and he told them, because he testified on this later when Trump got in, he said, don't use the dossier because it's loaded with horse shit. Don't use it to get a FISA warrant. You'll get in trouble. And they're like, "Well, how do you know that?" And he goes, "Because they hired my wife to write it." They're like, "Oh, all right." It was opposition research, but it was dirty tactics opposition research. So Nellie Orr wrote the dossier with the dirt that Christopher Steele took money from, the Clinton money, and went to some Russian FSB agent and said, "Give me all the dirt you can on Trump, and I'll give you money." And they're like, "Okay. Well, he used to like hookers peeing on him in hotel room." And it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit lies, right? But here he told them, but guess what? This asshole, Comey, He went and signed 3 of those FISA warrants anyway, because you had to keep renewing them every so many months. And see, because of that, right now, FISA, the reason why they took it into the FISA system is because the FISA system was secretive because it was supposed to be against terrorists. So if you could get something into the FISA system because it was foreign, right? If you could get it into the FISA system, you were inside a computer system in the FBI that no one else could hack into. Because if you write cases and whatnot, someone else can look at your case, but since their name's not on it, they can't make changes, but they can look at what you're doing. Like if they want to get an update on how the case is going, but in the FISA, no. So that's why they went into the FISA system to hide what they were doing. All right. Well, this asshole signed 3 of the 4 FISA warrants testifying, yes, everything in the packet of the evidence that we're presenting you is on the up and up. And the judge never read it, never read any of it. He just signed off because they get so many of these a day and they got other cases they got to do. They just trusted that the director of the FBI wouldn't bullshit. Haha. Shame on him. So, Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has opened an investigation into former Director James Comey, and I hope he gets nailed because this mother effer, he sat on TV, smug as hell, and they said, well, how did those FBI agents know to go over to the Trump Tower and question him like that? He goes, oh, because I sent them. And they all, everybody laughed, and he had a smirk on his face. All right. Over allegations that he authorized a covert operation targeting Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The development and see, Kash Patel is no dummy. He's doing this so that he can then get to the FISA warrant case, right? He has to do this to show that he had a reason to sign off on a phony FISA warrant. So the development follows the recent appointment of Kash Patel as FBI director. According to a report by the Washington Times, an FBI whistleblower came forward with claims in 2015. Comey approved an operation including 2 undercover female agents. You get this? These agents, referred to as honeypots, were allegedly tasked with infiltrating Trump's campaign. Guys, no one ever says, well, wait a minute. How was all this Russia shit Trump's fault? He was just a candidate. He had absolutely no power. It was Barack Obama who was in charge. He was the president. So if this asshole sent a honeypot situation to screw with the presidential candidate against Obama's party, why is Obama not up on charges? Right? So these agents, referred to as honeypots, were allegedly tasked with infiltrating Trump's campaign to uncover potentially damaging information. Honeypot is a term of intelligence circles for an operative who pretends to have a romantic, like Fang, right? We got a Swalwell story too. Or sexual interest in a target to extract information. Pillow talk, right? The whistleblower alleges that Comey personally directed this effort despite the absence of a predicated criminal investigation, suggesting the operation was an attempt to find wrongdoing within Trump's campaign. So, in other words, Hillary Clinton and team and Barack Obama, because he didn't want Trump in there because, think about it, they had so much dirt that they just figured Hillary was a 98% shoo-in because the New York Times kept telling them that, right? That they didn't have to clean anything up. And then they scrambled. So they figured, let's tie Trump up and all his people up with this Russia thing so we can clear shit out as fast as we can. And nobody will care because who's going to believe him? He's going to be trashed, right? So they went after his campaign. Guys, that's pretty bad, but no one ever paid the price. The whistleblower further stated that the 2 female undercover agents were embedded at senior levels within Trump's campaign. The disclosure reviewed by the Washington Times suggests that under the new leadership, Director Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, the FBI is working to locate the former undercover employees who reportedly carried out Comey's orders. They probably live in Canada by now. This revelation stands in contrast to the well-documented Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which focused on allegations of collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia. They knew there was no collusion. The whistleblower, who claims to have direct knowledge of Comey's actions, asserts that the former director personally directed the covert effort against Trump. Didn't he say, I sent them? Additionally, the whistleblower indicated that the operation was not disclosed to Justice Department Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz, we all know that name, who later conducted an extensive review of FBI misconduct related to the Trump campaign investigation. According to the disclosure, the case had no predicated foundation. See, the predicated foundation, you can't just up and say, well, I'm going to send these two that look like bimbos, but they work for us. And we're going to go over there and we're going to have them hook up with somebody who's going to tell all. You can't do that. It's like saying you need probable cause. Well, the same thing with an FBI investigation. You have to have a predicated foundation, which means that you got to go to your boss and you got to say, look, boss, we got this, and this, and it looks pretty bad, so we want to actually get some more out of him to back this up, what we have. So can we hire this informant? No. Yeah, go ahead. Or he says, no, you're not going to get anything from it, right? So they had no, and that's a formality in the FBI, right, to move forward. So the case had no predicated foundation. So Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case in Sentinel or in any other FBI system. So he broke the law right there. Because let me tell you something. There's certain things you can't do in the FBI. Like if you leak, this is why Andy McCabe was fired, and then Biden gave him his job back with full pension or full back pay. Can you believe it? If you leak to the press, you're fired. And the woman that does the training at Quantico said, the first thing we tell them when they train to be an FBI agent is, if you get caught lying or you get caught leaking, you're out. Because FBI agents that do arrests and whatnot, they always have to go to court and testify. Can you imagine a first-year law student? So, Mr. FBI agent, isn't it true that you got nailed for lying in this case? It's like, so your career's over. You can't go to court and testify because no one's going to believe you? No. So you're done. So they fired him. Mr. Boiled Potato Brains brought him back. The whistleblower further noted that while the FBI has classified, hold on, let me check and see. No, she's not here yet. Okay. The whistleblower further noted that while the FBI has classified procedures for handling sensitive cases, Comey's failure to officially document the operation raised significant concerns. Right. Prior to the 2024 election, Comey publicly expressed apprehension about Trump's potential reelection, warning about the president's stance toward government institutions. Quote, Trump, this is unbelievable. Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time. Are you effing kidding me? So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. Yikes. And see, this used to work, and he probably thought that during the campaign that, well, if Trump won, the deep state's still going to take care of him, so I can get away with saying this bullshit. He didn't realize, guys, the earth moved on November 5th, and it moved over James Comey. Seriously, everything changed. Everything. So he's in big doo-doo. Christopher Wray, piece of shit, who served as FBI director after Comey, stepped down on January 19, one day before Trump was sworn in as the 47th president. Wray's tenure included multiple investigations involving Trump, and he faced criticism from congressional Republicans for missing an oversight hearing due to what was later revealed to be a vacation. And in other words, he did not respect the FBI, and he didn't respect the Congress, who have oversight over him. See, anything that the Congress created the FBI. Anything that the Congress creates every single district court. The Constitution only gives the authority for one court, the Supreme Court. And when the population started getting bigger, the Supreme Court said, we can't handle all these fucking cases, man. I don't know what to do. And so they said, all right, great, fine. We'll create other courts. We'll spread it out. And that's when they started doing, which also means, guys, that the Congress can close down a court if they want to. They can close down a circuit court. Any court that they created, they can shut down. And we just may see that with Doge. In February, the Justice Department brought, because you take away the money, you take away the court. In February, the Justice Department brought charges of insubordination against members of the FBI's acting leadership in a separate investigation into alleged misuse of law enforcement under Dash. Remember, we call him Dash now, Joe Biden, because he's just the dash between 45 and 47. Patel is expected to work alongside Attorney General Pam Bondi to address these concerns. The investigation into Comey's alleged operation will examine the extent of the surveillance and the decision-making. So here we go.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails, 52 email chains.
Remember this? Remember when he went on and on and on, and we're all like, God damn, they're going to nail her. They're finally going to nail this criminal pig. She's going to prison. And then he goes, but we didn't feel that there would be any prosecutor that would take the case on, right? They had prosecutors all around the country writing to the news saying, I would have taken the case. I would have taken the case. Of course I would have taken the case. It's a slam dunk, right? So he let her off. What a piece of shit. So let's just hope, guys. Let's just hope and pray that she goes. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, people? What's up, Lou, Gina? All right, so let's go to the next one. I don't know if I can do this one, but yeah, I should be able to. I don't see the problem with that. So this one is the Pentagon orders discharge of transgenders. The Department of Defense has issued new guidance ordering the military services to begin the process of discharging transgender members of the armed forces in 30 days. The new policy recognizes only two sexes. It requires members of the armed forces to adhere to the physical fitness and grooming standards of their biological sex. Any attempt at chemically or surgically changing sex makes the person unsuitable for military service. If a person had at some point been transgender, then they can be retained if they demonstrate 36 consecutive months of stability in their, I can't read the rest of this. We will get in trouble. So I'm going to stop. You get the gist, right, guys? Unreal. So let's go back. Yeah, this will shock the F out of you. Let's go back to this one. Ready? Doge takes a bite out of U.S. aid. Support for terror groups revealed in shocking testimony. The more the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, digs in, the more troubling things they find. This was not unexpected. In one of the latest examples, the House of Representatives DOGE subcommittee, by the way, they want to do a DOGE in every department now. How awesome is that? Inside the federal government. And questioning Representative Tim Burchett, heard some shocking details on how the U.S. Agency for Interdevelopment, USAID, right? Let's hear this.
Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted Al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Hamzi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Kataib al-Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the mechanisms in place that are to stop foreign aid from going to terrorist groups, and why are they not working if we have any in place? Sure. And I would note that these are, you notice, these are terrorist weaponry, some AKs, SKSs, some snipers, some clips, some clip carriers, probably made in China. And I believe these are small landmines here beside right there.
Let's use Gaza as our case study. $2.1 billion in American taxpayers' money to Gaza since October 7th when Hamas invaded southern Israel. USAID money was going in terms of an emergency use authorization to try to go to parties that USAID formerly had a relationship with in the Gaza Strip. They had to have been vetted by OFAC. They should have been vetted against the special designated terror list from the State Department and from other Treasury organizations. Waivers were granted because they said that there was an emergency use to have that money come in to Gaza, thereby jettisoning the usual typical screening procedures. As a result, 90% of aid that was going from the United States by way of its agents in Gaza ended up in Hamas-controlled areas. And this is ridiculous. Essentially, what the U.S. assistance to Gaza did was underwrite the ability for Hamas to survive until the ceasefire was just passed a few weeks ago. There was no strategic thought for it, and there was no screening.
Seems like the emergency might have been armed terrorists to kill civilians. Would that be accurate?
That's accurate, and even more than that, Samantha Powers, the administrator for USAID,
she's a piece of crap from the past,
was intent on having Israel not be able to defend itself.
To not be able to defend it.
Correct.
Mr. Primorak, is that correct? How do you say that? Primorak? I got Burchett, man. Nobody gets mine right, so don't worry about it. What is it? Primorak?
Perfect.
All right, thanks, brother. How did terrorists exploit our foreign aid loopholes?
Where do you hear this?
Well, we have a lot of our
Can
international.
you pull your mic up? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You have international NGOs and UN agencies actively lobby here in Washington, D.C. against vetting policies that would prevent it. I was the senior vetting officer at USAID, and what we did.
Did you say United Nations is doing this? The UN?
Sure, everybody who's getting money lobbies here.
They're lobbying against us. I'm sorry, Mr. Roman.
There's actually someone who used to work for one of those lobbies, the largest NGO lobby, Interaction. One of our co-witnesses here worked for them from 2018 to 2023. USAID effectively self-funds its own external private lobby that then goes back to Congress and asks for more money for USAID.
Yeah, and so what the guy's saying, the other guy, he's basically saying that the UN gets money from USAID to lobby against the United States.
So the taxpayers fund this lobbyist who's working against American interests.
Correct.
Possibly killing our allies.
Are you kidding me?
Possibly Americans.
They bring together groups in Washington that overseas work with groups that kill Americans.
Yeah, I don't need a flow chart to show that. I appreciate it. Do you think USAID programs have been aligned with the national security interests of the U.S.?
No, they have not. They have actually helped China.
Mr. Roman?
No.
Okay. How do these programs compromise our national security, Mr. Primorak?
They actually push China. They actually push much of the world towards China on the green energy agenda. They push people, ordinary people, billions of people towards China because of the resentment caused by our social re-engineering.
Are we being lobbied by these pro-communist China groups currently?
But a lot of these countries don't even have to lobby because they get the money anyway, like South Africa.
Guys, think about this. To people that aren't into this stuff, you'd be like, okay, move on, right? No, this is bombshell stuff. We're finding out that the Democrats allowed U.S. aid, right? And no Republicans wanted to go over there because, like, what the hell am I going to do with those fairies, right? So they're saying that U.S. aid was funding terrorist groups and all these other NGOs that were pushing globalist policies and anti-American policies. So now these guys are saying that, yeah, terrorist organizations and UN organizations, if you will, and so you and me, you work, you're paying it, right? So we're paying for them to argue against American policy in the world. It's just mind-boggling.
And in fact, these
being
lobbyists
exposed.
have come to the House and have tried to kill legislation like HR 160, which was meant to increase transparency in USAID's funding of overseas
Is
organizations.
that a current piece of legislation?
That's from the last session,
And give me that number again.
HR 160.
And what does it do?
It was meant to give U.S. lawmakers the ability to have higher transparency in terror financing investigations aimed at scrutinizing extremist groups.
Mr. Primorak?
We had a regulation before we left in the last administration that anybody who touches money in countries where there's terrorists, those names have to go through databases, terrorist databases. That was overturned by Biden.
Overturned by Biden. Chair Lady, I am.
It's almost like the Biden administration, everything they did was to screw the American people, to screw America for the benefit of the rest of the world.
Currently, I
Think about
have 5 seconds, but I wanted to mention something. There's a lot of rhetoric used on this committee, and I would urge my friends on both sides of the aisle, let's stick to the actual information. This rhetoric I've received death threats, and I know the chair lady has, and it needs to stop. We need to tone it down. Thank you.
Wow. That's cray, right? Taxes are like gravity. No technology has yet to stop from happening. Yeah. True that, man. If you haven't already, please hit the like button because it helps us. Appreciate it. Let's get to the next one. Let me close all these out. Here we go. Now I won't read mine. So now I already did all the Zelensky stuff. That was crazy, wasn't it? So deep state's boldest move. Yeah, panic is real. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we got some good stuff this week. So it says the deep state's boldest move yet to protect their own. The panic is real and it's getting scary. Let's make that bigger. If you've been scrolling the internet lately, one of the hottest topics is the Epstein client list, which according to Pam Bondi is finally set to be made public. The question is when, right? So there's my old boss, David Harris Jr. He posted this. All right, Epstein files are sitting right on my desk. Yeah, okay, let's expose them all. And speaking of that list, this post below is a solid point. If President Trump or any of his close associates were on that list, there's no way he would have pledged to release it. But because they can find out if something was removed. They have ways, okay? But here's the reality. We still haven't seen the list. Until that happens, people will stay guarded and skeptical. All right, so as mentioned earlier, the deep state is in full-blown panic. And they're pulling out all the stops to cover their tracks with the long-awaited Epstein client list, hopefully inching closer to release because nothing really came out today. Bombshell claims from an FBI whistleblower suggest the agency is scrambling behind the scenes to bury the truth. And it's not Kash Patel or Pam Bondi doing that, right? I told you earlier that FBI agents are deleting stuff off the servers when they've gotten orders to not do it. Now, I think they need to bring Doge in there, which is why, think about this. It's why these judges are saying, no, Doge can't go and look at those. They can't look at the Treasury, right? Because they want to get rid of a lot of data before Doge gets in and catches them, right? So I think that's what's going on. So it all started when FBI whistleblower Garrett O'Boyle dropped a bombshell during an interview shared by Benny Johnson. According to O'Boyle, the FBI is actively destroying files, wiping servers clean to ensure damning evidence can't be recovered. Guys, this is a felony. You can't delete data just to get rid of evidence. That's a felony. And I don't know how you're going to be able to catch him. He didn't mince words, suggesting that this cover-up could include information tied to Epstein and even attempts at subversion against the American people. Crazy. Take a look. Bombshell. Here we go. Let's listen to this.
You
guy.
Maybe give us a closer in perspective as to what the subversion is happening inside of the building right now. I mean, it's obviously you're going to have like an antibody reaction to somebody like Kash.
I'll give you a big one that I heard recently, which was already passed on, is that there are FBI servers that are sort of standalone, and people inside the FBI have been working night and day to destroy files on these servers. And I was told that once these files are destroyed, the way they are set up, that even Elon Musk could not restore them.
So I say, why let them do it? Why not get in there now and stop him? I think he's trying to, but I think they wrote things because like every department, when you have your servers, you have an admin of the servers, right? And they have the passwords to get into the actual servers. And so if they change those passwords, they could lock everybody else out who had them, right? And they could be the ones that are deleting stuff. They could be doing it remotely. So it's hard to catch people doing this kind of stuff.
So that's happening right now as we speak. That's happening with Kash Patel being the director. It was happening before he got there. And so that subversion, like I said, started immediately. And it's only going to continue. These people, and here's another example. I was told last week, right out of the gates, Kash Patel came out and said 1,500 people, 500, you're going to Alabama. You're still going to be headquarters personnel. You're going to Alabama. 1,000 of you, you're going out to the field. He said this long before the election, even, that he said if he was in charge, he would say, let cops be cops. And so go out and be cops. Already people are saying, we are not going to comply with that. We are going to make it seem as if we transferred. We're going to do what they call, quote unquote, paper transfers. And we're not going to obey these lawful orders.
Can you believe it?
I don't know if you heard Stephen Miller in the last few days. He came out and has given a great civics lesson on Article 2 of the Constitution. The FBI falls under the executive branch. Mm-hmm. And you have these career bureaucrats who say, no, we answer to no one. Well, hopefully that's going to change. And I think under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino leadership, I think it will. But they've got to root out this subversion first.
Somebody who works inside of the West Wing came up to us in a private setting when we were in DC and said, you would not believe the number of times that my office has to be swept for bugs.
It's crazy.
And inside the White House has to be swept by agencies to figure out if there's electronic monitoring that's happening.
And then you got to worry about, was that agency doing it? Were they compromised?
Happening right, to us on a daily basis. It's crazy. Any idea what's on the servers that's so damning that it has to be siloed into such a secure facility with the lack of redundancy or capacity for anybody to go through and
see you, Hasdock. Good to see you, man. Thanks.
Sort of from forensic, like digital forensics, right? You can uncover most data that's deleted. You can uncover it in some capacity. So somebody's worked very hard to make sure that this data that you're talking about can be deleted and destroyed forever. Any idea what it is?
No idea on what it is. I can only speculate, but you mentioned the Epstein list. I'd imagine it's cases like that. It's intel cases that are very siloed, very secretive. And I'm sure there's probably even information regarding the FBI's own subversive measures against Americans, against American politicians, for instance. We learned over the last few days that the Oval Office was bugged. And they took out the Resolute desk to inspect it more. Who's doing that type of thing, Benny? It's going to be, if they're operating at all as they should be, it's going to be the FBI because they're the domestic agency. Now, is it beyond the CIA or NSA playing a role? No, not at all. Because I think all of these agencies at this point do not have the best interest of the American public in mind.
Yeah, they're all symbiote. They don't even have to. They don't even have to get told what to do. They just know what to do. Unbelievable. Technically, Moses was the first person to download data onto a tablet, right? Yeah. What else we got? Let's see. Exclusive would be Crooks may have had. Now they're saying Thomas Crooks, who shot Trump, that he may have had a partner. There we go. New York Post. Would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks may have had an accomplice. Data show, as investigators say, FBI is suppressing info. So, again, why would the FBI be suppressing info about an assassination attempt against a candidate running for president who used to be president? Why? Why did they clean Crooks's parents' house like it was a medicinal lab, right? As clean as that. Why did they take all the trash from the house and the utensils? Why did the FBI do that? All right. Why did they try to shut the case down? Why did they cremate his body so quickly? And now we're finding out this. All right. It's been almost 9 months since a seemingly mild-mannered 20-year-old attempted to assassinate then Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump in Butler, PA. As we still have no good reason why. I keep looking to see if Dr. J's here. Sources told the Post the FBI has obstructed efforts to solve the mystery of why Thomas Matthew Crooks, who left no manifesto, did what he did. Yeah, he had his entire social media presence was wiped. It's left local law enforcement as well as Crooks' former friends, classmates, and teachers frustrated. Those who may know, Crooks' parents, Matthew and Mary, have refused all interviews. You know why? Because they were threatened. Refused all interviews and if they allowed their home, right, to be sanitized completely, all fingerprints, all everything, right? And they took the utensils. That one freaks me out. They took the utensils, everything, forks, knives, spoon, all that crap, and all the trash from the house. They just took it with them. They were threatened, all right? They've refused interviews and remain in their small 3-bedroom home here, sealed off from the world like hermits. Neighbors say they only leave the house at 3 a.m. to buy groceries. That's a hell of a life, right? Where is this back? Once one of the by the way, why do we know nothing about that guy in Butler? Elon Musk yelled out at an audience at CPAC last week before warning that FBI Director Kash Patel is going to get to the bottom of it. A veteran private investigator from Erie, PA, who was hired shortly after the fateful July 13 event at the Butler rally to look into crooks by a private client. Why is a private client? Told the Post that he believes a criminal network was operating with him at the time of the assassination attempt is still in existence and still wants to kill President Trump. Doug Hagman, whose team of 6 other investigators have been working the case for months and have interviewed more than 100 people, said they also conducted extensive geofencing analysis. Geofencing is when you get your GPS, and you can actually do this. You can pay them to, I want to do a geofence around, say, my house 20 feet out from everything around my house. Now, anybody that walks by with a cell phone, you can tell they were there, how long they were there, all that. So geofencing analysis of cell phones and tablets not belonging to crooks that were found with him at his home, at the rifle range where he took target practice, at the rally, and the Bethel Park High School where he graduated in 2022. Quote, "We don't think he acted alone," Hagman told the Post. "This took a lot of coordination. In my view, Crooks was handled by more than one individual, and he was used for this assassination attempt. And I wouldn't preclude the possibility that there were people at the rally itself helping him. Of course, I believe that too." How the hell, think about this, guys. It was never answered. How come Trump's normal Secret Service people that were with him for years now, that he likes, and they like him, right? How come all of a sudden they were swapped out? Right? They were swapped out and a whole new crew came in. Isn't that kind of odd that happened on the day that he was shot? Hagman said one of the electronic devices geolocated with crooks at several different places at the time of the shooting is still pinging today at Bethel Park High School. Crooks perched on a rooftop 130 yards away. Yeah, how? Secret Service, local cops, how the hell did he get 130 miles 130 yards away from the former president running for president, right? How did that happen? They had to know. He wasn't dressed like one of them, right? They had to know. How the hell did that happen? He fired 8 shots, striking the former president in the ear, killing rally goer Corey Comparator, I can never pronounce his name, 50, and seriously wounding 2 others. The autopsy report indicates Crooks was pronounced dead at 6:25 p.m. July 13 from a gunshot wound to the head by counter sniper. It was a local cop that actually got it. It wasn't even the Secret Service. Hagman said he was personally escorted to Butler County line and told to leave twice during the course of his team's investigation. The people who did so were either federal agents or some type of private security. So now they're thinking that he had an accomplice. Hey, what's up, Leanne? How you doing, girlfriend? What's going on? Good to see you. I mean, think about that, guys. Hey, Nick. Good to see you. Yeah, think about that. Like we know next to nothing about that case, and yet Trump was shot. Anybody else, we'd have probably already had an arrest, right? We got nothing because it was Donald Trump. So next one, there's a long history. There we go. We're not going to go through that. I'll bring up the page so I can show you what we're doing. Great. Good to see you too. Good. I'm glad you made it. Let's see. My family. There you go. Comey family member was lead prosecutor in Epstein case in the Southern District of New York, where files released to DOJ were heavily redacted. Really? Are we? This is my shocked face, right? This afternoon, after years of waiting for the hidden FBI files from the billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's criminal case to be released, AG Pam Bondi released over 200 heavily redacted pages. So she didn't redact them. Heavily redacted page. And let me say again, for people that weren't here, the reason why it was taking so long for her to get them out and why a lot of them are redacted is because you got to think about the victims. Like, the victims were kids or young adults, but they're probably young adults or adults by today's standards. And if these multi-billionaires, sickos, if they could have gotten to Epstein in a prison, right, who had 2 guards watching him, monitoring him at all times, right, and he made all that happen, how easy would it be to whack these people that could testify against them? So you got to protect them, right? So the redactions could be their address. You don't know what's going to show up in a 302 form, an FBI 302 form, which is what they got to write down as soon as an interview is done. They have to write down every single thing that they remember so that later on they can go over it, not forget anything. So they got to protect, the innocent. They really do. You don't think anybody else did. They probably had those files printed, deleted the data from the servers and just hid it in a drawer somewhere or a safe. Americans were shocked after waiting so long for the documents to be released to discover that any relevant information was missing from the document dump. Exactly. After receiving the disappointing phase 1 of the Epstein files from the FBI FBI field office in New York, AG Bondi sent a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel. We read this similar earlier, demanding the full release of all documents related to the Epstein case by 8 a.m. on Friday. In her letter, she called him and go, I got to do this. Right? In her letter, Bondi assured the DOJ that it would protect the identities of the victims. Bondi also demanded a full investigation into why her order to release the documents was ignored. I'm not going to read it. But popular conservatives, social media personalities, and journalists were outraged over the lack of transparency in phase 1 of the document dump. Independent journalist Todd Starnes, I read his stuff, called for Pam Bondi's resignation on X after she promised to release the bombshell documents but fell completely short of expectations. Yeah, okay, she's going to resign. You know what? I have to live with that for the rest of my... Can you imagine? Don't be a dope, Todd. He wrote, Republican lawmakers are enraged. The Epstein documents being released are nothing more than his phone book. If all of the Epstein files are not released by 5 p.m. Eastern, President Trump should demand Attorney General Pam Bondi's immediate resignation. Well, I go back to, she has what she got, right? Southern District of New York is withholding a lot of it. And that's not the U.S. attorney who's new, because I'm sure Trump got rid of all the whoever was there. I can't remember the name of who was there, but whoever was in the Southern District of New York, the U.S. attorney, I'm sure he replaced, because that's the biggest U.S. attorney in the area, right? Bongino Report host Evita Duffy Alfonso also appeared to blame Bondi for what she suggests was a bait and switch of the Epstein documents, writing on X. If the Trump administration has no Epstein information because the New York FBI is refusing to hand over documents, then why did Pam Bondi say the Epstein files were sitting on her desk? Because they were. She just didn't realize until she actually looked at them, because she's been busy, that it was all a bunch of horseshit. It was all redacted stuff. Things would have gone a lot smoother if she had told us the truth. Well, she didn't lie. I don't think she knew. I really don't. Liz Wheeler, I like Liz Wheeler, one of the conservative influencers who received an advance copy of the phase 1 of Epstein's documents, tweeted about the source notified AG Bondi that the Southern District of New York is hiding more Epstein documents. Quote, lots more, she tweeted, adding, we're talking evidentiary list names. Those files are where the big names are, and recordings. The FBI hid this, hid it from Bondi, hid it from Kash Patel, hid it from you. So there's your answer. In a tweet on X, Kyle Becker, who's another guy I like to read, revealed that the daughter of the dirty former FBI Director James Comey was the lead prosecutor of the Epstein case. Doesn't that say it all? Maureen Comey. Wow. Becker suggested to the House Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee to subpoena Maureen Comey to compel her to testify in public. So who is Maureen Comey? According to Newsweek, her LinkedIn profile is Assistant U.S. Attorney Comey heads the Southern District of New York's Violent and Organized Crime Unit and has been with the office since 2015. Unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable. It's like an incestuous pool of professional criminals. James Comey. Yeah, exactly. What did Jimmy say? Why doesn't Bondi raid the Southern District of New York? Because she would have to get Kash Patel to do it. She doesn't raid anybody. She's the AG. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Let's see. What are we going to do here? USA's long history. Musk, White House respond. Employees. Yeah. I wrote to remind myself, this is good. Epoch Times or Epic Times. Musk, White House respond to reports of 21 Doge employees resigning. He wrote, they would have been fired had they not resigned. You got to like a boss, right? All right. Trump advisor, I love that. Trump advisor Elon Musk and the White House have criticized media reports about 21 civil service employees resigning from the Department of Government Efficiency. Uh-oh. Doge, created by Trump, by renaming, they also, he didn't have the right to do that without, no, he renamed the United States Digital Service. He's tasked with rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse in federal operations, reducing staff numbers, and limiting hiring are also part of the targeted cost-cutting efforts. In a joint resignation letter, we resigned, a copy of which was obtained and reported on February 25 by the Associated Press, who is no longer allowed inside the press pool. The 21 staffers said they were refusing to use their technical expertise to dismantle critical public services. It's not good. Quit, because it's not your right to say that I'm not going to do what you work for the president, dipshit. We swore to serve the American people and uphold our, and you do that by following the president's instructions. We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations, they wrote. However, it has become clear that we no longer honor those commitments. Musk, who leads Doge, responded to the AP report on social media on X, calling it fake news and propaganda. Quote, these were here's the great part. You knew it. These were Democrat political holdovers who refused to return to the office. They didn't want to come back to work after COVID, right? That's what it was. How you doing, Doctor?
How you doing, Rich? Just got home.
Oh, did you? What are you chomping on? I'm hungry. What are you chomping on?
I'm starving.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I haven't eaten.
Oh, I haven't eaten
dinner. I rushed in here.
I'm up to 30 hours now. I haven't eaten, but I'm doing a fast. All right, let me get back and then I'll hit you up. Let's see. In a state, yeah, these guys, they were Democrat political holdovers who refused to come back to work. They would have been fired had they not resigned. Exactly. And they're trying to make a big thing because, always trash Trump, no matter what happens, right? So they didn't want to come back to work because they wanted to stay home and remote work because then you don't work, right? And yet, they try to make a big thing out of it to make it, we just don't want to do this to people. No, bullshit. In a statement, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, was dismissive of the mass resignation. Quote, anyone who thinks protest lawsuits and lawfare will deter President Trump must have been sleeping under a rock for the past several years. President Trump will not be deterred from delivering on the promises he made to make our federal government more efficient and more accountable to the hardworking American taxpayers. Amen. In an emailed statement to the Epic Times, Harrison Fields, White House principal deputy press secretary, said the issue was an example of inaccurate reporting. Quote, the Democrats in the mainstream media have once again gone off the deep end with their breathlessly inaccurate reporting on President Trump's widely popular mission to rid the federal government of waste, fraud, and abuse. Did you guys watch my video the other day where I pointed out that Doge actually revealed that everything the left has run for decades, the trans movement, the BLM riots, that, this is very popular. All these movements are really popular. People are behind. No, it was all horse shit. And without the media, my brother Jimmy always said this, without the media, none of these things would have become issues that everybody thought was so big. No, they had a shit ton of money that you and I paid for. Your microphone is really good. We can hear every crunch.
Oh, I should probably stop that then.
Yeah, just saying. So think about that. We paid for all this crap, right? That everybody think, this is huge. No, it isn't. None of it is. So Doge has effectively become part of the USDS as a component of the White House. And any leftover career bureaucrats who don't align with the president or Doge are either advised nor welcomed to be, are neither advised nor welcome to be a part of this never before seen mission to make the government more efficient. Actually, I don't agree with that. It was Calvin Coolidge was the first one to do something like this. In fact, his secretaries, he told them that in their departments that he would give, they gave awards out every month for who cut more spending than anybody else. He actually did that. But in modern times, it makes what he did look like nothing because we're talking big bucks. So Musk and Doge have been hit with multiple lawsuits seeking to stymie its operations. Musk also recently drew criticism from the Office of Personnel Management, sent an email to government workers over the weekend asking them to provide the bullet point list. Yeah, you imagine they, and then he wanted to know what I did last week, and then I felt really, I felt really bullied. Yeah, I mean, these people, Jesus Christ, they've never gone through a review. Think about that. No one ever asked them before, like, can you tell me what you did? And later on, he said, if they'd have written they played tic-tac-toe during lunch, I would have accepted it. Because the test wasn't to see what you did. The test was, will you respond and comply? That was the test, and they failed it miserably. There's no official tally for the total firings and layoffs to date. Still, a review of various reports suggests that it's at least 20,000 people and an additional 75,000 people accepting deferred resignations, bringing the total to about 100,000. That's really good. So what's going on, Dr. J? How you doing?
Anyway, hello everybody.
Oh, you sound weird now. You sound metallic.
I took my headphones off. Should I put them back on?
Maybe. Yeah, because you sound really metallic.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is how I used to do it before. Let me go ahead and put the headphones back on.
Yeah. Pretty sure Elon just wanted to see if there was a. Yeah, exactly. That was it. Yeah, static's gone now. Say something. Something.
Okay, the static and everything back to normal.
Yeah, you still got a little static there. I hear you better. You're louder, but the static's not as bad, but it's still there.
Don't know why.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, it's still there. How is that? Did you just turn your headphones on?
I just turned them back on, yeah. I had turned them off.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but it's not good.
Let me go out and come back in.
Sounds like Star
See what
Wars.
that does.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I'll bring you in. And then there was one. $2112, yeah. Great album. If you could say you're a feisty little one. But soon, here we go.
Okay, first, how's that?
Perfect. I don't know what you did, but perfect.
Okay, I just signed out and back in.
You sound good.
Okay.
You still sound good. So you don't need the headphones.
Yeah, no headphones.
Yeah. Can you hear it? I guess you can without the headphones.
Yeah, I can hear.
All right, cool. All right, we're back. Way
Right,
better.
right.
Yeah. There we go. So how was your week? What'd you do?
I thought Elon asked those type of questions.
What's that?
I thought Elon asked those types of questions.
Yeah. What'd you do last week? Give me 5 things you did last week.
5 things I did.
You got to get closer to the mic now because for some reason your volume just went down.
I don't know what's going on.
There you go. Now it's fine. Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
bring
just
you
more
in,
of the
Leon.
same. More of the same. More of them not working.
Oh, yeah?
Busier than ever.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you're retired. That's when you get busy. I'm going to bring Leanne in for a minute. She wants to talk. Yeah, we went over a lot. How long were you sitting there backstage?
Just a couple of minutes.
All right, cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kept checking
3-4
back
minutes.
because when you read, you can't see it.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Yeah, did a lot of stories already.
Yeah, I figured I'd just, be able to come in and be immoral support for a while.
There you go.
And
You have any stories you want to do? Did you find any?
Just that CIA one, but I wasn't able to take the time to find an actual article on it.
Oh, all right. Hey, what's up, Leanne? How you doing?
I'm well. Have you talked about the thumping that Zelensky took today? It was awesome.
We played the whole 11 minutes of it.
Oh, that was great TV. They should just show that over and over and over.
Trump
again.
even said that this is going to make for great TV, and he was right. Yeah, he was absolutely right.
Hey, Jade.
How you doing, Leanne?
I'm doing well. How about everybody?
Doing well.
It's Mardi Gras here. So
Gales of ill
Oh, is it
mannered
Mardi
laugh.
Gras?
yes,
Mardi
it's
Gras?
right.
For real?
Yes.
Alabama has a Mardi Gras?
Mobile, Alabama is the birthplace of Mardi Gras.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I didn't know they still did it.
Absolutely. Joe
Okay,
Kane,
cool.
the Georgia Indian, brought it back after the Civil War, and we've done it since.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? What kind of news you got? Want to talk about any subjects? Because I still got a boatload of stories I could do.
Well, you start talking and I'll chime in when I have.
There you
something
go. All right, let me pick one. When the attending proposed nation.
Yeah, did you find an article on that those CIA guys?
I think I did. CIA agents, you mean using media to threaten national security?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, they say they're going to start selling secrets if.
Yeah, you ask and I do it. All right, here we go. So it says Gabbard drops bombshell. CIA agents using media to threaten national security.
Fire them all. Fire them all.
Fire them all is right.
Fire
you have to be. You have to be careful. You have to be careful because they do know national secrets. So the interesting thing is that my understanding now, I've never been part of the CIA, so I don't know, but I'm led to believe that when you join the CIA, you are told if you are captured, if you're a field agent, you're told if you are captured, you have to hold out for 24 hours because in 24 hours, everything you know will be useless.
That is true. Yeah. Let me read.
So because anything you know, they will, it just won't be any worse to them. So you got to hold out for 24 hours.
Well, if you fire them all and they talk, you take them for treason and you shoot them on national TV. That's how you fix that shit.
See, that's the Alabama way, guys.
I think they need to figure out who were the instigators of this because I'm sure it's not everyone.
No, it's not everyone. But if you get one and make an example out of them, people will fall in line.
Yeah, they need to put some people in jail here because this is threatening national security.
Look at what they did to Ashley Babbitt. Yeah. And they just killed her and nobody's paid the price.
Nobody gave a damn.
No. And
isn't that crazy? Roseanne Boylan, nobody gave a damn.
Yeah.
Or they cared about Officer Sicknick, who died the next day of a stroke, but nobody gave a damn. Yeah. All right, here we go. So U.S. National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard addressed concerns Tuesday regarding reports that some CIA agents may be considering selling classified information to foreign adversaries. I say hanging's too good for them. Speaking on Fox News, Jesse Waters' Primetime, Gabbard responded to speculation that disgruntled agents, let me make this bigger for you, disgruntled agents upset over reforms led by Doge might resort to espionage in protests. So in other words, okay, so there's this thing called treason and violating the Espionage Act. So we're going to do that. It's like throwing a little temper tantrum, but you're putting your life at risk.
But you know,
right?
What's the ultimate penalty for treason?
Yeah.
It's a capital offense. It is a capital offense.
And they're admitting that they're going to sell classified information. Wow. Then again, Hillary Clinton
if they've already said that they're going to intend to do that, that's giving a big middle finger to everybody in this country. And this is what's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Well, look, we knew that Trump coming in this time and saying, hey, this is what's going to happen. We don't give a shit about you other guys. We're just going to do it. We're not listening. And he's doing it with the fire hose technique. He hits them every day with something new and they don't know what to be upset about, right? Because there's too much stuff. Well, they had to expect that they were going to have stuff like this, that these people were going to start. They thought that the deep state was going to remain the same. That's what they thought. Okay, that it was that they were going to run government still, and they're not. Trump is actually draining the swamp right now, and it's just the first month, right? You gotta love that.
Swamp. It's not a swamp. It is a cesspool.
Yeah.
Swamps are ecologically good. A cesspool is not.
Oh yeah, I know. All right, so let's see. Quote, I am curious about how they think this is a good tactic to keep their job. Simple question, right? They're exposing themselves, especially by making this indirect threat using their propaganda arm through CNN, and they've used that they've used over and over and over again to reveal their hand that their loyalty is not at all to America. She's right. She argued that such actions undermine the American people's trust, just like you said, American people's trust, and run counter to constitutional principles. Quote, it's not to the American people or the Constitution, it's to themselves. And these are exactly the kind of people that we need to root out and get rid of so that the patriots who do work in this area, who are committed to our core mission, can actually focus on that. And I throw this all back to this USAID bullshit. Because how many NGOs do you think these CIA clowns created to help themselves out inside other countries, right? You hear about all these safe houses that no one knows about, but they do. Where do you think they get the money to fund that kind of stuff? And that's what they're really pissed about. They're not upset that some of their people are going to be let go because, let's face it, most people, you might have a friend there who's dead weight, but does it bother you that they got let go? They were dead weight, right? They're upset about losing their fiefdom, whatever you want to call it. Gabbard noted that efforts to address corruption and inefficiency within intelligence agencies have already led to more insiders stepping forward. Good. Whistleblowers. Nice. Quote, I got to tell you that one of the byproducts of what I saw literally today is because of this immediate action of transparency and accountability. That's right. Guys, they're doing everything out in the open. That like Musk puts it online, tells everybody, yeah, this is what we're doing today. Right? I have people within the intelligence community reaching out to me personally and directly saying, hey, you need to know about this. Good. I'm so glad. You need to look over here. People are stepping forward because they are all on board with the mission to clean house and refocus on our core mission serving the American people. So, yeah, I'm not going to get into the history of it, but that's good. So we have actual whistleblowers, not the a-holes that are trying to make a name for themselves or get a job on CNN, right? What's going on here? All right. Again, guys, if you just came in, do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps us. At least do it before you leave, please. Let's see, what's the next one? Musk, White House. Lee Zeldin taking a chainsaw to the EPA. That's good.
Hey, what about Barack Obama getting $2.6 million a year in royalties for the name of
for being able to use Obamacare, which was not his to use.
No, it's the Affordable Health Care Act. It's not Obamacare. That's
but even the word Obamacare does not belong to him because it's his name. It's not the official name. I get it, but it doesn't belong to him either. So why is he getting that? He's getting it was like up to $28 million so far over the years.
Getting paid for nickname.
Like, what the hell was that? Here we go. Rich, have they got all the J6 Patriots out of jail yet? I don't think so. I don't think they're all out, but there was one big one that just got out. Let me see if I have it here. J6. Yeah, here it is. Jeremy Brown. I'm going to do the story now. This is a good one. Here we go. Patriotic lawyers and the Trump admin just defeated an activist judge. J6 political prisoner Jeremy Brown is finally free. The good news is that Jeremy Brown is finally free thanks to relentless support, brilliant legal minds, and a sharp attorney who outsmarted an activist judge and won. If you're not familiar with Jeremy Brown, you should be. He's become the face of the fight against the regime's ruthless J6 lawfare. Jeremy isn't just any political prisoner. He's a decorated Green Beret who bravely served his country. But his life changed dramatically when he exposed federal agents attempting to bribe and coerce him regarding J6. From that moment, Jeremy became a prime target of Biden's weaponized FBI and DOJ. Truth in Media says, Jeremy Brown is a decorated veteran who spent 20 years in the U.S. Army Special Forces. He's also serving an 87-month sentence in federal prison over his activity. Now, he's one of the guys that Trump pardoned all J6ers. And he's one of the guys that the people inside the prison were like, nope, we're not releasing him. Where do these people get off thinking that they outrank the president of the United States? They work for him. In December 2022, the government convicted him of possessing illegal guns, explosives, and a national security document. But Jeremy says there's more to this story, much more. Let's see if we can.
Jeremy Brown is a name you might not know. He is a decorated veteran who served 20 years in the U.S. Army Special Forces, retiring in 2012. He was among the thousands who went to Washington, D.C. on January 6th, accused by the federal government of trespassing and disorderly conduct at the U.S. Capitol and its grounds. In September 2021, he was arrested at his Tampa home. During a search of his RV, officials said they found illegal weapons and a national security document. He was held in jail awaiting trial on weapons charges. Over a year later, he was found guilty of possessing illegal guns, explosives, and that classified document. In April 2023, he was sentenced to 87 months in prison. That is the official story. You can read about it in the papers or online. But Brown says there is more to it than that. In fact, there's a lot more. Laura Logan wanted to hear the missing parts, so she visited the Citrus County Detention Facility in Florida for an exclusive interview. This is Jeremy Brown in his own words.
The rest of the story.
I see you brought a
Yeah.
little homework with you.
A little light reading.
Wow. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi.
How are
It's
you?
nice to finally meet you.
I know. Good to meet you. Your chair is over there. Do you want me to take that?
Sure.
When Laura met Jeremy Brown, he was wearing prison orange and handcuffs, and he had a lot of documents that he said helped explain what was really going on the day the authorities
A special forces soldier
came to visit. But even before those weapon charges, there were his activities on January 6th, where he wore military gear, which got the attention of the federal government.
I wore gear to delineate myself from the civilian population because I'm in a security role. I also wore a red and blue strobe light on the top of my helmet.
Yeah, but all that got you didn't help you.
Well, no, of course it didn't help me
Sorry
because
then.
nothing's going to help you in a setup.
Well, this is true. But it made it easy for them to paint you as a threat.
But I'm there working security. See,
and who are you doing security for?
So our protectee, which we didn't know beforehand, we were told that we were going to be escorting whoever they needed us to escort from the Ellipse to the Capitol.
Oh, wow.
And we have permits for a speaking event at the Capitol.
Can you believe
They're
it?
in my discovery, but yet that's been suppressed from the American people. So they claim that we're trespassing, and yet we had permits for an event on the Capitol grounds approved by the District of Columbia.
Yeah, that's
So
a
we were
very
to be
important point.
escorting speakers. There was rumors that some of the congressmen were going to be utilizing escorts because everyone was walking, as President Trump said, we're going to walk peacefully from here to the Capitol. Why would the President of the United States say that? Because he knew that there were permitted stages set up at the Capitol for a follow-on rally.
Yes.
Except when we got there, there were no stages. So the lady that we were speaking, I was told, the lady that we're escorting, I was told was the mother of one of the speakers. We were to escort her through the crowd because we expected counter protesters. And that's the reason why I'm wearing all that gear, because we're expecting bicycle chains with locks, frozen water bottles.
All the shit that they did during the St. George Floyd riots.
All the same TTPs, the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by Antifa and BLM and any other counter protester that was normally showing up to commit violence against Americans who just wanted to exercise their First Amendment. So that's the reason why I'm in a helmet, I'm in a mask, I'm in eye protection.
Yeah, but nobody else was, so that's a little iffy.
But I'm dressed, I'm not wearing camouflage. Well, I'm not part of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force or anything. I'm wearing OD green so that I look official.
He actually didn't see much violence that day, but one thing is for certain. After January 6th, the government had Jeremy Brown in its sights.
I didn't see anything because I'm on the side where there isn't staged violence.
Right.
See, there's only violence in that one very narrow corridor. I believe they call it the West Tunnel, which is on the scaffolding side of the Capitol. I'm on the other side where the main front steps are.
That's where Brandon Strzok was too. He had told me that I was on the phone with him. And he said, "Yeah," he goes, "We weren't anywhere near any of that." He goes, "In fact, we had to hear it on the radio on our phones." So that's how he knew.
Unbelievable. They can arrest a man for this and put him in jail like they have.
Gave him what they say, 87 months.
And there are CIA officers threatened to give in national security secrets if they're fired. I'll be damned. That's ridiculous. That is wrong. Everyone is fired. And if they tell a secret, they should be shot. That's what.
Well, he got a raw deal. Well, he's free now. They finally got him out.
To restore him and make him whole again. I mean, they took him out of his. I'm sure he lost his job. I'm sure he probably lost his home.
Oh yeah.
Family. How are they going to make him whole again?
Right, and he was pardoned, and the pardon is really to remove a punishment,
right,
for a crime, right? So he basically said, we weren't even near. You know what I think it is? I think it's because they knew that he was like the Biden people came in then, right? They knew that he on the 20th. I'm sure they wanted a list of everybody that had a permit there and could have seen something that would make their bullshit story, right, about J6, that they were trying to, it was an insurrection, they're trying to take over the government, all that. And so they arrested all those people just to shut them the hell up. That's what a communist regime does.
Well,
and I'm sure that's what they did.
Insurrection against Donald Trump is what the insurrection was against. It wasn't against Joe Biden. It was against Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was like, wait a minute. You're saying they tried to overturn the government. So are you saying they tried to overturn the Trump government? Because he was the president.
Right, because it was January 6th and he was still the president.
Right, he was still the president. So, I mean, the whole thing is nonsense.
Absolutely.
To say something like that. Yeah, you had guys. Are you taking off, Chris? All right, brother. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. We got to, I'll hit you up this week if you want, and we'll go over stuff. All right?
All right, guys. I got to cut out.
You got to run?
You all have a great day.
All right. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks.
See you, Leanne. Have a good one.
See you, Leanne.
See you. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. There's got to be a reckoning for the whole J6 thing. There really does. They have to do something, because that was one of the biggest BS movements that we've ever seen. So many people got thrown in jail who did literally nothing wrong. Like Strzok never even went into the building. And when I listened to his sentencing, the judge literally said, "Look, we know you didn't go into the building. However, but the reason they went after him is because he was the guy that started the walkaway campaign, and he's responsible for over 350,000 Democrats leaving the party, and so they wanted to send a message to him. That's what the whole J6 and the stealing of the election, because I still believe it was stolen. The whole thing to that was, if you want to go after us for something you think we did, well, this is what's going to happen to you. That's why they charged all of Trump's lawyers. Now, they went after, look what they did to Rudy Giuliani. All Rudy Giuliani was doing is what a lawyer's supposed to do. He was defending his client. And they went after him. Why? Because they wanted to tell all the other lawyers, look, if you're thinking of being hired and working for Trump, this is what's going to happen to you, right? And from what I understand with Fannie Willis down in Atlanta, that had those lawyers said, "Go F yourself, I'll go to court," they would have got off, because she had nothing. She had no, well, I don't know, because Atlanta prior to now did not like Trump then. But she had nothing. It was all a bluff. She had nothing, but she was saying, we're going to hit you up for 3 felonies. We're going to have these misdemeanors attached to them, which then will get us into this other area. I mean, they really had their bullshit down right. And so all the lawyers, they took the deal. And for what? For actually working for their client, for representing Trump. Guys, that's communism right there. That's what they do. And so they had all these people that they put in the DC gulag for these years, because they didn't want them coming out and saying things they saw or whatever. All right. They had to keep that that lie up that there was an insurrection. Then look at the guy in charge of the Proud Boys. Wasn't even in D.C. that day.
He wasn't there.
Got 20, 22 or 24 years. Right?
He's out though, isn't he?
I think he's out now. Enrique, yeah, he's out. But I mean, think about that. What they did to these people. It's just crazy. Just nuts. Fanny by gaslight. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. What else do we got? Condemned. Yeah, get this. There's another one. There's 51. Remember? But now we got, ready? Former defense secretaries condemned Trump's firing of senior military officials in scathing letter. All but one former defense secretary who penned the letter worked under Democrat administrations. Okay. 5 former defense secretaries issued, and they make it seem like there's so many. 5 former defense secretaries issued a scathing letter on Thursday. It's like, fuck you, strong letter to follow. On Thursday, assailing President Donald Trump for firing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and other senior officers. He's the commander-in-chief. He can do what he wants. This was over Trump and Hegseth fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and a very high-ranking admiral in the Navy, and then some other lower-level people. They got real upset over it. They never said, over 2 guys, 2 top guys, right? Obama fired 197 officers, right? It was his right to do it, but he wanted to reshape the military into his vision, which was how we got people like Mark Milley, that the transgenders. We got, who was the other one? That admiral that I think was the one that was fired, who or no, it was an Air Force colonel who was saying he was into the whole DEI, all that crap. Right? I mean, Obama wanted yes men who weren't going to argue with him. Right? And so 197 officers, these guys didn't give a shit. Right? In an open letter published Thursday, former defense secretaries James Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, turns out to be a lunatic. Leon Panetta. I've always said Leon Panetta was the biggest liar in all of D.C., but since he's been out, there's others that would give him a hard time. Lloyd Austin, the joke, the guy that wore like the window in front of his face and a mask and goggles over his glass. Remember that shit during COVID? Chuck Hagel, William Perry urged Congress to hold immediate hearings on Trump's recent firings of Joint Chiefs of Staff and several other, whatever. They said senators should refuse to confirm any DOD nominations in response to the firings. Why? He has the right. He was elected by people, nearly 80 million. He's the commander-in-chief. He has the ultimate right to do what he wants with the military. In the letter, they allege that Trump's actions undermine our all-volunteer force and weaken our national security. How? See, these are the same clowns that they'll make a statement like that, but they don't tell you how. Because they know the press is just going to run with, oh, he just undermined all of our. I mean, think of that. And they accuse the president of trying to turn the apolitical U.S. military into an instrument of partisan politics. Really? You remember when Mark Milley said, I'd like to know about white rage, wouldn't you? Remember when he said that?
I remember him saying that.
Oh, my God. So an apolitical U.S. military into an instrument of partisan politics. Are you effing kidding me?
So the
Milley,
fact that they were giving DEI courses in the officer training schools doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, holy cow. The Milley got, I said this before. Milley got a contingent of soldiers that their job was to go in and drag Trump out of the White House if he didn't leave, and that was all started by Bill Maher. Because he kept telling everybody who wanted to listen, oh, he's not going to leave if he loses. He's not going to leave. And so it's not political? Come on. Unbelievable. Partisan politics and using firings which extend to the top Navy, Army, Navy, and Air Force lawyers to do whatever. All defense secretaries but one, James Mattis, served under Democratic administrations. Trump announced the firings late on Friday, but his administration has yet to clarify in any detail what caused the unprecedented. They were woke, which also included the dismissal. And plus, I don't remember reading inside the Constitution where it says that the president of the United States, the commander in chief, has to give a reason. He doesn't have to give a reason. And Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the first female officer, who cares? Who gives a shit? Air Force General C.Q. Brown was only the second black officer. Who cares? Why is Fox writing this? To become Joint Chiefs Chairman, as he was less than halfway through his 4-year term when he was let go. So what? That means he's doing a shitty job. Mr. Trump's dismissals raised troubling questions about the administration's desire to politicize them. No, he's getting rid of woke yes men, and he wants to put real military people in there. He's reshaping the military so that they're not going to put contingencies together to take out the commander-in-chief. It was like even the civilians. Remember Esper? He was the Secretary of Defense at the end. Again, the left-wing Hollywood people were saying that, oh, he's going to put troops against the BLM rioters. Trump never said that. He said we can send in FBI troops, right? We can send FBI in and they'll straighten out your city in a day. We'll end all the fires and the riots and all that. We'll end it. He never said troops, but Esper gets up there and says, well, to a public setting on a microphone, he says, well, you don't want to do that, Mr. President, because we're not going to follow that order. And you know what that means. I'm sitting there going, is he going to be able to make it back to the office before he's fired? Like, why would he say something like that? Just crazy, man. So the big takeaway from this, from all this shit that's been happening lately, is that the Democrats feel that if Trump doesn't do exactly what they're used to, right, what the deep state is used to presidents doing, that it's got to be illegal. He has to be breaking the law, violating the Constitution. Yet everything he's done is within his Article 2 authority.
Yeah, and everything he's done is exactly what he said he was going to do during the campaign.
Exactly.
And,
and
it seems to me, I remember Pete Hegseth getting up there and he said, if confirmed by the Senate, this is what I'm going to do. And that included getting rid of anybody who was responsible for pushing
Afghanistan
DEI.
And the Afghanistan withdrawal. He wants to go after every officer that was involved in the Afghanistan withdrawal. Yeah, he wants to go after them. Crazy, right? Just nutty. Here we go. This is a good one, too. This is Wayne Root. You ready? All roads lead to Obama. He is the evil Manchurian candidate and communist mastermind of everything bad that has happened to America and President Trump. And I'm a witness. It all started at Columbia University. All roads lead to Obama. He is the shot caller. He is the communist traitor behind everything bad that has happened to America, the U.S. economy, and President Trump. I believe it all started at Columbia University. Yes, I have a history with Obama. So did Lott. What was his name? James Lott? The guy that wrote, he did the study on guns, more guns, less crime. He's the guy, John Lott. Yeah, John Lott. He's a numbers guy. They all think, oh, he's a gun guy. No, he's a numbers guy. All right. And he said that he's worked when Obama was there. Remember how they said, he was a distinguished law professor, constitutional law. No, he wasn't. He wasn't even a professor. He wasn't even a teacher. He was simply a lecturer. That's what he was. He was considered a lecturer, and that's how he was hired. And see, a lot of colleges allow people to get jobs like that so that they could still eat, right, while they're preparing to take down the world. Leftists, right? So he said he went up, he was in the cafeteria, and he went up to Obama because nobody liked Obama, and he didn't talk to anybody. So he said, you know what? He said he tried to reach out to him because he's a fellow teacher there, right? And he said, look, he goes, at the end of the month, every Friday, at the end of the month, the last Friday of the month, the faculty all gets together and we go out. We have dinner, we have drinks and all that. And he goes, I think maybe you might want to do that, because you can meet some people, you can collaborate with people and stuff, because in other words, Obama was just, he kept to himself. He gave everybody an attitude. They said that he was better than them and all that crap, right? And so nobody really liked him. And he just sneered at him and walked away. Didn't even say a thing to him and just walked away. And Lott said, and that was the last time I ever tried to reach out to him. So he says, yes, I have a history with him. We were college classmates at Columbia University. We were both pre-law and political science majors. We both graduated on the same day in 1983. Both went into politics eventually. So this is when he was at school there, not teaching there. That's when John Lott hit him up. That's where the similarities ended. I'm a conservative warrior and capitalist evangelist. He talks about capitalism a lot. I made millions of dollars as a risk-taking entrepreneur in the business world. He became a community organizer, like a communist trader. I'm pro-business. I believe in economic and personal freedom, free speech, limited government, low taxes, and very little regulation. Obama hates business. He believes in socialism, massive taxes and government regulation, the green energy scam, open borders, and the weaponization of government against free speech. Sounds like Biden, right? Because wasn't that his third term? Trust me, the root, excuse the pun, of everything bad that has happened to America is called the Obama problem. And the secrets to how it started are all found out at Columbia University. This is good. First, how did Obama get into Columbia? Nobody really knows. In those days, there were virtually no college transfers accepted at Columbia. Only the #1 student at Harvard might have had a shot. Maybe. But Barack was a lousy student coming from a mediocre college, Occidental. So how did he transfer into Ivy League Columbia in 1981? It was literally impossible. I've always believed the only way Obama could have been admitted to Columbia was as a foreign exchange student. Columbia U loved letting in students from exotic countries like Indonesia, where Obama grew up. He did. It was a fast-track way to gain acceptance into Columbia, which is fine, except for the fact that if Obama claimed Indonesian citizenship to get into Columbia, then he was never qualified to serve as president of the United States. Now, he is. He was born in America. His mother was American. Secondly, how did he graduate when he was never there? That's what people say. They say they could not find a single person who remembers him being there. Now, Jade, if you went to school with someone who then later on became the president, wouldn't you be like, hey, I went to school with him? Kiss my ass. Wouldn't you be like, yeah, wouldn't you be gloating off that? Like, I went to school with him. I'm as good as him. Elect me. You know, you'd be doing that shit. There's no one. No one remembers. Yeah, we were all in the same classes as pre-law and political science majors, yet I never saw him once. Neither did any classmate I've ever spoken to. Neither did any professor I've ever spoken to. Obama was literally the ghost of Columbia. I've always believed he was either a CIA plant who was given a Columbia U degree without ever stepping foot on campus, or he spent his 2 years at Columbia's sister school in Moscow studying Communism 101. Either way, he's a fraud and Manchurian candidate. Lastly, his entire agenda has always been built around a strategy we all learned at Columbia called Cloward and Piven, right? Cloward and Piven is, they were two professors that were married, but she was like, kept my maiden name, you know, type of married. And what they came up with was the idea that if you want to destroy a country, right, if you get yourself elected and then you intentionally create economic policies like Obama did, like Biden did, that will just crush your economy. And then you already have a planned economy that is a socialist economy. You could say that's pretty much what happened with but they didn't plan it in Nazi Germany. You know, because of World War I, and they were treated like crap after that by everybody over there, their economy crashed. And then the socialists, the Nazis, came in and said, we're going to pump us up, right? Till they ran out of other people's money. But Cloward and Piven says, so you destroy that, and then the rising phoenix is your socialist plan, and that's how you make a socialist economy. Okay, so this plan was detailed how-to strategy to destroy American capitalism and the great American middle class by getting everyone on welfare, food stamps, and free health care until the debt explodes, the economy is overwhelmed, the country collapses. Sound familiar? Recognize this plan? It's exactly what was carried out in Obama's 2 terms. I used to sit there during the Obama administration and think, he keeps doing things every day to harm America, not help it. But they come out with these flowery sounding explanations like they're helping America. But how is the press so dense, so obtuse that they can't see it? They don't care. They just didn't care. that he was doing it because he was the first black president. So, and then exploded times 1,000 in Obama's third term with brain dead puppet Joe Biden as the front man. I believe this. But instead of just trying to get everyone in America on welfare, food stamps, and free healthcare, Obama expanded the plan on steroids with open borders. Obama and his communist cabal welcomed the entire poverty-stricken and welfare-dependent third world into America to bury our country with debt, because he did it under his own administration, if you remember. He had like 1 million come in under him. Bury our country with debt, overwhelm the economy, and collapse the country. Obama, see, the problem with these a-holes on the left, they never understand that America will always be fine. Because the only way the communists win is if you give up. If you tell them, all right, you won. That's they have to break you. And there's just too many diverse people with the same American spirit in this country. We don't see them much because they're not the yokels that go out there and make all the noise, right? But there's too many Americans in this country that love the American way of living to ever be able to pull off a Cloward and Piven. All right,
And
so
you know what's the beauty of that?
What's that?
Is that since the election, everybody with that feeling now knows that they're not alone.
Right. Hey, Vine, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That everybody, that's why I said on November 5th, the earth moved, and it moved over the Democrats.
Because before that, the media was very good at making everybody feel like they were abandoned.
They made conservatives feel like, wow, the whole freaking country is against me. Holy crap, made you paranoid, right? Well, that's how they beat you down. So Obama also added another twist, which he probably learned from studying communism at Columbia's sister school in the Soviet Union. Weaponization of government. It was Obama that did that. He took the Patriot Act that truly was only created to go after foreign terrorists, and he turned it on the American people. Obama used government agencies to destroy his opposition, just like the Soviet KGB. He did, and we should all talk about it forevermore. Trump was the target. He received the bulk of the persecution and lawfare. First, Obama ordered the spying on Trump and his campaign. Then Obama ordered the persecution of Trump with a fraud called Russian collusion. Then Obama ordered the indictments against Trump. Then Obama, in collusion with New York State communist politicians, ordered the civil suits against Trump to take away his assets and bankrupt him. Think about that. They wanted to take his money away from him because without money, you can't fight in court, right? They also wanted to make him look like a scumbag, so they threw the phony sexual assault thing at him. New York actually had to create a law that gave a pass on the statute of limitations for 1 year. They said you can do that for 1 year. You can, if you forget the statute, if it was 20 years ago, who gives a shit? We want you to get Trump, right? So that's what the whole thing was about. So he's right. And Obama was behind.
That was specifically to allow what's her name to come forward.
Yep, the crazy woman.
What's her name? Yeah.
Yeah, I forget her name too. That's good. That's good that we can't remember her name.
She's that remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, this gets good. So, but long before the Trump persecution, there was my him. Obama began and sharpened his obsession with weaponization by ordering the IRS to destroy his political opposition. Before he targeted Trump, he targeted yours truly. I was at the top of Obama's enemies list for the crime of being a regular guest on Fox News and not only exposing Obama for the communist traitor he was and still is, but also for daring to expose his scams at Columbia U. Obama sent the IRS to destroy me from 2010 to 2013. I was attacked day and night by Obama's version of the Gestapo/Soviet KGB. Like Trump, I survived but lost tremendous amounts of money. You have no idea what you got to go through. And time, and because of the lawyers, and time, and endured tremendous stress and anguish. I believe the attacks and scams perpetrated on American capitalism and the U.S. economy and the great American middle class all started at Columbia U with Obama's lies, fraud, scams, and Cloward Piven education. And the weaponization, lawfare, and persecution perpetrated on President Trump started with Obama persecuting his Columbia College classmate, Wayne Allen Root. My advice to President Trump, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, here we go. First, all roads lead to Obama. He is the man behind. You're going to hear Obama's taking a surprise visit to a country that has no extradition. First of all, all roads lead to Obama. He is the man behind the spying on President Trump, the Russian collusion scam, the green energy scam, the intentional destruction of America with open borders, and the persecution of President Trump. It all starts and ends with Obama. He called all the shots. Investigate and prosecute Obama. Now, that would be, everybody says, you can't do that to an American president. They already did it to Trump. He was an American president. Second,
they set the rules. We're just going to play the game.
They set the bar. You're exactly right. Second, the secrets that launched this evil communist Manchurian candidate all started at Columbia University. Go back to Columbia. Demand to see Obama's files. Demand to see. You know what? As soon as he was elected, Obama wrote an executive order to lock his files up. No one could see them. They didn't want any of the press to see them. Opposition organizations that would get Republicans. Nobody. He had them sealed. Demand to see Obama's files. Demand to see how he was admitted to Columbia. Demand to see his attendance records. This scam will all start to unravel. They better do it now because they'll fake all this shit. All roads lead to Obama. So he's exactly right. Our country started going downhill modern time because of Barack Obama. Hey, Leanne.
That's like that's very interesting, you know.
Yeah,
I think a lot of us suspected that Obama was, you know, the guy in the back room behind Biden.
Oh yeah. Oh
and,
yeah. Look,
you know, here's the interesting thing though, and with all of this stuff that's coming up, can you imagine if Kamala would have won?
Oh.
Not only would we have never heard what you just read, but this guy would probably have exited this earth.
Yeah, well, either that or he may have gone to a country without any extradition.
That would be the other thing. But these people think they're above everything, and I don't think
they do.
I don't think it's beyond them to. How should I put this without getting this stream banned? You know, I think they would arrange to create the atmosphere of ultimate disappearance if you take my meeting.
Yeah, they'd whack them.
Okay, you said it.
Yeah, I did.
Say it.
I did.
I didn't say it. They pulled the stream. It's your fault.
Yeah. But man, when you think about it, you know, isn't it amazing that America survived Obama and Biden? Now, Biden, I really think that Biden took us to the brink because, like Yuri Bezmenov, you know, you heard his predictions and all that, and he was right. But Obama even said one time, well, he said two things. He said, number one, after he was out, they said, you know, you're going to miss being a president. He goes, you know what? He goes, I'd love to be able to sit back and watch everything and then, you know, give advice to call the shots and all that. Well, that's exactly what he did. And he put two of his
people. He was saying he would like to have somebody with an earpiece that he could be there in a sweat.
Yeah, he was saying that. And he kind of did because he put Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice into the White House with Biden. And they were reporting right back to him. And they also implemented a lot of things that he said to implement. That's why I remember he bought that mansion in D.C. and he immediately built a wall around it, even though he said walls don't work.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or he was saying walls don't work, but he built a wall around his house. You know why? Because walls work. What is subversion? But I mean, think about all the shit that we had to go through.
You're right, though. We were at the brink. If Kamala would have got in,
Soviet nightmare.
Yeah, we would have been done. It would have been irreparable at that point.
It would have been a Soviet nightmare if Kamala got in because...
Well, one of two things. Either it just would have gone off the deep end and forget civil liberties, like you say, maybe Soviet nightmare might be a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Either that or there would have been an actual shooting war revolution in this country. One of the two.
I know. And what mostly would have happened was, see, this is what Trump is getting rid of, and they can't stand it. No matter who is elected, it didn't matter, because the deep state and the bureaucracy, okay? People don't like saying the deep state, but they are a deep state. The deep state would do whatever they wanted anyway. And they're still trying to, but they're learning now Trump doesn't give a rat's ass. And the Supreme Court, their ruling the other day, they temporarily stopped that. We already did the story. Amir Ali, he was a Canadian who I think Biden brought in and made him a judge, right? He was a Canadian. He did something really horrific up in Canada. And so they brought him down here and they made him a federal judge just to go after Trump and all that, but and conservatives. But when you think about it, the things that they did, they still believe that they can do whatever the hell they want. But Trump now is saying no, especially from this point on, because of what SCOTUS just did. Chief Justice John Roberts, you know how I feel about him. I'm on the fence with him because of what he did prior to Trump. But now he seems to be all right most of the time. Anyway, he's trying to get us back on a constitutional path as far as the Constitution goes, which is why they overruled which is why they threw out all those old bad decisions, Roe and
he's a political hack. He's a political hack and a useless as tits on a boar hog.
Yeah. So what Roberts did was he just said to this Amir Ali, he said, no, you're not going to stop Trump from withholding that federal funding. And it's going to be that way until the Supreme Court, can actually take the time to hear the case. But no. And that sent a message to these other judges that, you know what, I'm just going to look like a fool. But most of them don't care because there's no repercussions. They don't care. But earlier we read a piece about Mike Lee. Remember how I kept saying, oh, just, the House should, impeach him. Then the Senate should, try him, convict him, remove him. Then they should break for lunch. Right. And
yeah, but they don't have the votes in the Senate.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. It would take too long anyway because of the process. Mike Lee is right now working on legislation that says that federal district judges may not do this anymore, that they cannot make a ruling that would affect, that is a nationwide ruling that would stop the executive branch from practicing their Article 2 authority.
See, I thought that was already a thing because if you look
separation of powers.
No, well, never even mind separation of powers, but if you go to a district court, you get that local judgment. If you go to an appeals court and when they rule for that district. So the Second Circuit or the Fifth Circuit, if those guys make a ruling, it's not national,
right?
It's for that circuit,
right?
The only people
that's what it's supposed to be.
The only guys who can make national decisions, it's the Supreme Court. That's the only one that the president has to answer to.
Right, and we also this is like another one of those things. The 14th Amendment says if you're born here, you're a citizen. It's just it's been thought that way for so long that people just go, well, of course that's the way it is. It's always been that way. Well, sorry, always been that way doesn't mean that the original sin gets forgiven or overlooked, right? So technically the Constitution only allows one court. That's it, Supreme Court. And what the Supreme Court was supposed to be was that the states, here's the thing, in the 5,000-Year Leap by Cleon Skousen. Okay. If you never read it, get it. You will freaking love it. It's a great book. And he basically gives the history of the founding of the country, things that you never learned in school. One of the things was, like, we used to have banners and coins that had Moses on the back. A statue of Moses is inside the House of Representatives, so long as Pelosi didn't remove it. But why? Because he was the original lawgiver, the lawmaker, right? But the thing is Skousen did the 5,000-Year Leap, where he pointed out that we had to, the United States, when we were first formed, they picked to do things the way the Israelites did in the Bible, because the Israelites said, okay, so you have the local level, right? You should be able to figure out your disputes at the local level. You should. Most disputes you should be able to. And if you can't, you got to go to this second level. That's the intermediate level. And you should be able, 99% of things should be finished there. But if you can't then you go to the supreme level and they make the final determination. And that's with not just the courts, but with government. That's how it was all supposed to run. So they created this thing called the Supreme Court so that the states, when they got to that top level, they couldn't go any, well, now they'll go to the Supreme Court, because he's not called the Justice of the Supreme Court. His official title is the Chief Justice of the United States. So the Supreme Court is really supposed to only be for when states can't fix the problem at their level, they move it to the federal level. But the problem was our population started growing. And the Supreme Court, I was saying earlier, they're like, oh, we can't handle all this. So what they did is they created these federal district courts. And then eventually they had to create appellate courts, because then eventually the federal district courts had so many cases because so much litigation, right? So this is the mess that we're in. But the point is that what these deep staters don't understand is that if the Congress created these federal courts, they can uncreate them just as easily.
Well, and the other thing is the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is supposed to be the Constitution. That's it.
Yeah, but you know what? The Constitution also does not say anywhere that the Supreme Court is the final say. You know that? They don't. So if the Supreme Court makes a ruling and says, well, this law here doesn't adhere to the Constitution, but then the Congress says, okay, then we'll just make another law like it, but we'll make sure it adheres to the Constitution. They had the final word.
That's, the separate but equal three branches of government.
Right. But today, for the left, that doesn't exist, because you have lawfare federal district judges that are nothing more than unelected bureaucrats that wear black robes, right? So you have all these a-holes that are trying to jump on Trump saying, well, we don't like your policy. I don't give a shit you don't like the policy. It's his policy. He was elected to create that policy. Well, it's never been done that well. Guess what? Once again, it doesn't say in the Constitution unless it's never been done before. Bullshit. He was elected by almost 80 million people, and these a-holes on the left think that one judge, and there's 200 of them, that one judge has the right to say to give the double barrel to all 80 million possibly.
Yeah, and Roberts just said, no, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, Roberts actually, he did. Roberts.
And the interesting thing is, and God knows where it's going to go, but if we increase our members in the Senate, if we increase our proportion of the Senate, if we get 60 guys in the Senate, or I suppose given Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, you'd have to have 62. But at that point, I would start impeaching those sons of guns.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Every Democrat's going to vote against it. But what I say is, I'm not a lawyer because I have morals, but I would have somebody look at these guys, because this can't be right. And if they are doing something that contravenes the law, maybe you can't get them impeached, but you can get them charged and convicted, and even if, I don't care if they go to jail. It'd be nice if they go to jail, but take their license, take their law license. Take their law license, make them so they can never have a security clearance. And you would only have, how many do you think you'd have to do that to before the others kind of went, oh?
Well, I always said, that's why I said, look, you can impeach someone in a day. Why can't you? There's no I mean, I'm sure they have like regulations and rules and all that. Speaker of the House can change that rule. That's just a rule. That's not constitutional. All it says is the House shall handle impeachment. The Senate shall handle the trial. Impeachment is just an indictment, right? So that's what they're saying. So they don't have to hold. They can hold one hearing. It can last an hour. All right, let's have a vote. Then they go, we're going to walk it over to the Senate. They could go, we're going to have a trial. Now, look, if Schumer can take those 2 articles that were of impeachment that were written against Alejandro Mayorkas for dereliction of duty with the border situation, right? If he could cause murders and shit, if he can just crumple them up, throw them out and say, these are ridiculous, they're not lawful, yada, yada. Yet they were actual articles that were voted on by the House. And he tells you, fuck you, we don't care. All right. So he said, these are ridiculous. They're not lawful. He said they were unconstitutional. How? All right. So if he can do that, then the Republicans, who would have to grow some, right? That's the problem. They could just say, okay, so we're going to hold the trial and we'll vote by lunch. And they throw this bum out.
You need 60 votes to convict.
Yeah. And they what they do is they get the 60 votes by doing whatever means. I know they have 53, but by whatever means they want, or just the embarrassment of them being that way. But that's why Mike Lee came up with the idea of, no, we're going to make a law that says they can't do this anymore, because that's a permanent thing, right? That's a permanent solution. So I like Mike Lee's. Let's do one more. Well, we got a few more we can do. Rubio, world has been done, kind of leadership. Okay. Geez, a headset does not rule out. Yeah, where do you hear this? Mexico. So, Hegseth does not rule out strikes on fentanyl labs in Mexico.
Oh shit.
I know. I'm all for it because they're killing our people. They're killing them, right? Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is not ruling out military strikes on fentanyl labs in Mexico. Now, when he says I'm not ruling, it's because somebody, Laura Ingraham, asked, and Laura Ingraham, I love Laura Ingraham, but she does that because she takes the devil's advocate view, right? So he said in a recent interview with Laura, anything is on the table. The commander-in-chief ultimately, with my consultation and with other chairmen and others, will make those determinations, but nothing's off the table. See, that's how he answered. Our sovereignty will be defended. Is there a video? No. So his message to the cartels, we're taking nothing off the table, nothing. We will do whatever it takes to secure the American homeland, to maintain our sovereignty and protect the American people. So they may want to take their trade somewhere else, because I don't think Trump's going to F around this time, and they're going to find out if they do. Hegseth made the remarks during a visit this week to Guantanamo Bay, where President Donald Trump has authorized the military to temporarily detain illegal aliens crossing the United States southern border before sending them back. He should release them on the streets of Cuba, just like all those Latin American countries do up here, right? The base has been used for decades as a holding place for migrants and asylum seekers, in addition to the detention facility for 9/11 terrorists such as Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. The facilities for illegal aliens and terrorist suspects are separated by 50 yards. Wow, 50 whole yards, half a football field. There are currently 30,000 beds available at the base for illegal aliens, but there are currently only approximately 25 being held there. Last week, the base held 178 illegal immigrants, but 177 were sent to Venezuela last week. You gotta love it. So they're trying to tell the cartels, look, we're serious about this. We're not effing around, so you don't want to find out. Wouldn't that be an act of war? Yeah, it possibly could be, because they just declared, actually, no, because they already declared the Mexican cartel as a terrorist organization.
Yeah,
now, when that declaration...
Any troop activity in another country without the consent of that country, that's a problem. That is an act of war.
Well, yes and no, because they declared the cartels. Well, Mexico's all in on it. The government.
All Trump would have to get is the the okay from that wacko that president
she's a
of
nut.
Mexico. She's a
Yeah,
nut
she is a
job.
nut.
But they arrested the heads of several cartels.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yeah, so now they're sitting in a prison unit that looks pretty much like a country club.
oh yeah, of course, because I got the
And
money.
they've got people running around bringing them food, booze, women, whatever they need.
Yeah, but what happens is they designated them as terrorists. So we went after terrorists in other countries before. They'll just make the same. They'll just make the same arguments. They'll make the same. They'll cut a deal with the Mexican government. Although the Mexican government has to do it because they don't want to say no in front of the cameras. But they're saying that half their economy is based on the cartel.
And at least half of the government is paid by the cartels.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So yeah, and we just saw who was just assassinated. They killed a judge a couple years ago. They slaughtered a judge, and I think his family. I mean, they don't play around, but Trump wants to stop it, and if he can stop it by really blocking the border and really having the technology and the troops there and all that, that's fine. But in El Paso a couple years ago, actually, maybe less time, I watched a report where it was like you saw bombs going off. You heard, you saw tracers going. I'm like, what in the hell? There was a war going on right across from El Paso in Mexico, and it was the federales at war with the troops of the cartel. The cartel has enough money; they have an army now, and so they were fighting it out. And I'm like, holy crap, right? Those are the same ones that were shooting at U.S. Border Patrol.
The cartels go to current police and military, and they say, how much you make?
I know.
And then they say, how'd you like to make 10 times that much?
It's all bribed. I know.
And that starts to get a little hard to.
See, that's what Fast and Furious was about, right? George W. Bush had a program where he was putting the transmitters inside weapons, and he got FFLs along the border, American FFLs, to sell. He got them to agree to sell them to cartel members, because then he traced where they were going, and he told the federales, "Look, all these weapons, they went to this location. Here's the address. Go get them," and they were. And then one of the cartel leaders was a woman, and she thought, how the hell are they nailing us every single time? And what's the common denominator? And it was always around the delivery of new weapons. So she ordered her lieutenants to go and look at the weapons, sweep them, find if there's a bug or something, and they found them all. So they removed all the bugs. The minute that the Bush administration realized they removed all the bugs, he closed the program down. Now Barack Obama gets in, right? And he says, we're going to start it up again. He called it Fast and Furious, right? Except he sold the weapons. He allowed the gun shops to sell the weapons again. They got the serial numbers, but he put no bugs in them. What was the point? A federal border patrol agent was shot and killed during that operation.
With one of those,
with one of the guns. And I think over 200 Mexicans, regular people, were killed as well. And
I remember that guy's name.
when they came to them and said, "What the F did you do?" when Congress tried to talk to him, Eric Holder said, well, the first time he testified, he said, "Well, I found out about this program. It was a Bush program." And they came back and said, "No, because Bush shut that program down and you reignited it and you gave it a different name and different specs. You didn't use the transmitters. How did you think you were going to find? Oh, we had eyes on it." No. Don't say it was a Bush program, because he shut that down once he realized they took the transmitters out. And so then he said, "Well, I found out about it on the news like everybody else." And they went, "Oh, well, here you go. Here's a memo with your signature on it saying that you were going to start that program, Fast and Furious." So how did you know about it in the news when you signed the memo that went out? He lied throughout the whole goddamn thing. So then they asked him for more to bring data. They subpoenaed data, records, files, and he refused. So they brought him before again to testify. It took him 3 times to get him there. He was never sent to prison like Steve Bannon was, right? So he finally gets there, and they held him in contempt. All right, contempt of Congress because he refused to comply. And so what does he do? He goes across the street to an NAACP summit that was going on. And because he's Eric Holder, the Attorney General, they let him interrupt the dinner and all that and the speeches. And he goes up and he said, he literally told these people that the reason why they held him in contempt is because he was black. He was the first black Attorney General. And he said it with like such vigor and like he was prominent Attorney General. And it's because I'm black. Now, can you believe this? We fought the civil rights. And it's like, oh my God. And not one of them understood that it was because he did not comply with the subpoena. They didn't arrest him. They didn't put him in jail, right? But they held him in contempt. So I mean, it's like, holy crap. Holy crap. So all this shit, like Wayne Allen Root said, goes back to Obama.
That's interesting. I wonder.
Everything goes back to Obama.
Yeah, like I say, I wonder. I can see it. And I'd be interested to, follow down that rabbit hole.
Let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to hold off on I'm going to play a Rumble video. This is hilarious. Let's see, but I want to hold off on the, okay. Here we go. Okay. Hold on. Let's go back. All right. Now I'll bring it in. This is hilarious. We can end it with this. Woman cries over having all of her rights taken away by Donald Trump. Here you go.
Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Oprah, and all these celebrities said that
I'm trying to find. I'm going to start it over. Guys, watch this video. It's 1:42. Tell me, is this for real or is this like a setup? Because the crying looks pretty real, right? But just tell me if you think this is real or if it's just a joke. It's a joke from a conservative onto the left.
Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Oprah, and all these celebrities said that if Trump came into office, that he was going to strip all of us women of all of our rights. And I haven't lost one of them. I still have to go to work. Like, I have all of my rights still. And it sucks. And did you also know? No, this is serious. I'm being serious. That they have visited like North Carolina, Tennessee, California, Ohio. Yeah, you remember the oil or the train thing in Ohio? They visited that. Like they forgot about Ukraine and they're focusing on us.
How is she's got to be screwing around? How are those tears pumping out like that?
Yeah, no, this is just bizarre.
Yeah,
this doesn't make sense.
She must have put something in her eye that's making her eye tear. Yeah, maybe she's like a drama student and she knows what to do. I don't know, but this is great.
Like they care about Americans, and it's just wild. It's wild. And then they're proposing that all of the money they find from corruption, that they're going to give it back to us. Like, can you imagine us getting a check?
You see, the tear on her right cheek keeps coming down the same duct.
Because they were corrupt. It's none of their business.
See? The same one.
I mean, I'll take the... What? It always bothers me.
Something's going on there.
I hate this president.
That's bizarre.
I know. What do you make of that?
That's bizarre. I think it's some sort of trolling.
It's a filter. Yeah, I think she's trolling. I think she's like a conservative. And she's
Yeah, it's some sort of trolling because she's
it's
saying
it's the social media tear talk. That's it. Yeah,
she's
I
sitting
thought so,
there.
Vime. I thought it was a mocking, but I was like, that's why I was like, wait a minute. The
No, it's
tears look
trolling.
real.
It's some sort of trolling.
But then I realized they were all coming down the same area.
But yeah, I mean, she's there, crying about I didn't lose any of my rights. Listen, I want to throw something in here. I have to look it up because I forgot his name. But we're talking about Fast and Furious, and anytime you want to talk about Fast and Furious, the name Brian Terry should come up and be honored. Brian Terry was the Border Patrol agent who was killed.
Oh, okay. He was the one.
And we should know that. We should remember that.
Gabrielle Fragoza, Timothy Keller, and William Castano. Let's see. U.S. Border Patrol, Arizona. No. Demonstrate.
Yes,
Here we go.
7 defendants were tried and convicted in Terry's killing. I guess one of them on appeal, they ordered a new trial.
So here we go. Border Patrol agents Brian Terry, Gabrielle Fragoza. Yeah, Brian Terry, deceased. Timothy Keller, and William Castano, U.S. Border Patrol, Arizona, on December 14, 2010. Border Patrol agents demonstrated extreme bravery while facing a lethal threat from a superior number of armed subjects suspected of trafficking drugs in the area. All 4 agents were operating as members of a small 4-man rural assault element tasked with interdicting armed suspects operating west of the town of Rio Rico, Arizona. This 4-man element had occupied a remote interdiction site consisting of rugged, steep, and difficult terrain for a period of 48 hours without relief. They couldn't go to the bathroom. At approximately 11 p.m., the team was alerted to at least 5 suspects moving into the interdiction zone. Without regard for individual safety, the small team maneuvered into a position to interdict and apprehend the 5 individuals passing directly in front of them. As the agents identified themselves, suddenly and without warning, the suspects opened fire on them. Placing themselves at great risk of serious physical injury or death, all 4 agents bravely stood their ground in an attempt to provide vital protection for their teammates. During the short and horrific gun battle, Agent Brian Terry sustained a fatal injury. Realizing that Agent Terry had been injured, the team, without hesitation, continued to selflessly place themselves in harm's way by attempting to provide life-saving techniques for Agent Terry and providing perimeter security, preventing the assailants from maneuvering on their position. One of the suspects was wounded during the incident and was ultimately taken into custody. Border Patrol agents William Castano, Gabrielle Fragoza, Timothy Keller, and Brian Terry's selfless sacrifice and dedication to the Border Patrol mission and their fellow teammates is exemplary of actions above and beyond the call of duty. That's sad. And this is what Trump's trying to end. And yet they're giving him shit. He's trying to end all that crap. The drugs coming into the United States. He's very anti-drug. He doesn't drink and he's never done drugs. So
yeah, I guess he's never taken a drink.
Yeah, he said that. He said it. And alcohol has never touched my lips.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty unusual.
Well, it's because his brother died from alcohol. He said he had a brother who was an alcoholic and he died from it. And he learned from that.
He learned early, evidently.
Yeah, well, I mean, with his life, the way he was living, he didn't have time for that shit anyway. He went to a military academy. I know today they would get away with that.
But you know, he doesn't smoke, doesn't drink.
Right.
And
that's why
he's
a
only
whip.
a few years younger than JB.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, it's
Dash.
Like a power of 10 difference.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And can you imagine during the election, they were all trying, the lib nuts on cable news were trying to say, well, he's showing signs of dementia. Trump, he's showing signs of dementia.
But Biden is perfectly fine.
Yeah. Biden's 2.0. He's the greatest Biden we've ever seen. Personally. Who? Trump? No, Trump's anti-drugs. He does not like drugs. And well, alcohol is legal, but he doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink. He doesn't use drugs. I don't think, I mean, I think he and RFK are going to arrange to legalize marijuana.
I think they might. Well, they're talking about the mushrooms thing.
And yeah, RFK is a big mushroom believer.
Psychedelics, yeah, for treatment.
Psychedelics, and it has a real basis in science.
But see, under the Dems, now we got all these pot places in Pennsylvania. Now you can go in, because I could go into a doctor and say, Doc, I want to get like a permit or a license, whatever you get, to be able to smoke weed. Well, let me ask you something. Yeah, are you nervous all the time? All right, and he writes out the order. It's an industry.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think whatever somebody does to their own body is their own business.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, just don't expect me to pay for all the hospital treatment that you need when you've done that. That's why it kind of pisses me off a little bit when somebody's liver is shot because of drinking and they go in and get a liver transplant.
Yeah, I know. And that's something.
Or
but then again, I don't want the government saying things like, hold on, let me deal with this first. Pam says, I'm licensed and you can't go to your doctor to get it. Well, who do you go to? You want to come on the show? Who do you go? I want to talk.
Well, I know in Colorado, it's licensed recreationally now, but for a long time it was medical use, and we had a list of 8 diagnoses that we could use, and you could recommend a medical card that was issued by the state.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I thought in Pennsylvania, I have to look this up.
I don't know about Pennsylvania, but that's how it was in Colorado. They added a couple of diagnoses over the years, but initially there was 8 diagnoses, and then of course now we have recreationally available.
Okay, ready? All right, I'm going to show this Pamela B. Here we go. Okay, Pennsylvania. There are 4 steps to participate in the program as a patient. Register on the website. See an approved doctor to get certified. Let me repeat that. See an approved doctor to get certified. Pay for your medical marijuana ID card and visit a PA dispensary with your medical marijuana ID card. So there you are. Boom.
Yeah, it's always been doctors that have recommended it. The interesting thing, and you have to be very careful about this, because people would come in and they would say we want a prescription for the marijuana, and you had to be very careful because this was not a prescription, it was a recommendation, because any physician or any medical provider who writes a prescription for a Schedule 1 substance,
right,
would immediately lose their license.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, and marijuana is, last I looked, I haven't looked again, they were changing it. They were changing it out of Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which didn't make any sense to me at all here in Colorado, because we now have recreational. If you're going to take it out of, you should just deschedule it, because so many places have it for recreational use now. So
yeah,
I don't know what they're doing with it.
Pam
Now.
B.
I don't indulge. So I don't know.
It doesn't say they're approved doctor. It says an approved doctor. So your doctor could get approved by going through the state program.
Yeah.
So it could be your doctor.
It could be your doctor. The doctors who do this have to go through a process to sign up and get approved by the state.
And it makes them an agent of the state and all that crap.
Not every doctor does that, but any doctor could do it.
Right. But that's what it is. But she made it sound like, they're approved doctor. She capitalized. They're approved doctor.
She's kind of right, because you have to get approval from the state. But it's not. It's just any doctor can do it. You just got to sign up and make sure that you are complying with the rules.
Right. All right. We can do one last one. Let me see if this. There we go. We got to do one on Kathy Griffin.
Oh, what did she do now? I heard something.
She claims to be a comedian. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard or I saw something and I just didn't bother reading anything about it.
All right, here we go. So, comedian, it's questionable. She's never said a joke that I laughed at, and not because she's fugly and she hates Trump, because I listened to her before all that, right? But I never found her funny ever.
That's because woke is not funny. You
Even
cannot
freaking
be
Carrot
funny.
Top was funny,
You
some of
can't
the
be
time.
funny when you're woke.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Well, she became woke, but she was not woke prior to that. I mean, but she just wasn't funny. I just never found her funny. Yeah, unfunny comedian Kathy Griffin is at it again. She's reminding us why she went from drab, cringeworthy D-list comedian to full-blown TDS casualty. I love this. Is this Revolver? Yeah. This time she's retelling a story about the moment she slithered into a cab with a Moroccan taxi driver and within seconds apologized for President Trump. He writes, huh? Well, of course, that's what killed her career, that picture right there, guys. She thought it would be funny to do that skit. And then she got a visit from the Secret Service. Like, nobody told her, like, the Secret Service is going to visit you, and then everybody dropped her. And believe it or not, the people that dropped her were mostly California and New York clubs and all that, and they hated Trump. But still, they were like, no way. Well, of course, what else would a narcissistic Hollywood liberal do, right? We should all be taking life advice from this wise, level-headed old woman holding Trump's severed head in her hands. Unfortunately for Kathy, the apology backfired when she learned the hard way that not everyone in the world shares her privileged leftist political delusions. Instead of the expected resist nod of agreement, the cab driver hit her with a brutal dose of reality, calling Trump the greatest president you've ever had. Imagine her horror. Let me out of the car. One of those record scratch moments, if there ever was one. And as if that weren't humiliating enough, the driver also reminded her that if she had pulled her anti-leader stunt in Morocco, she wouldn't just be canceled on Twitter, she'd have her tongue cut out. Yikes. On a side note, can we get a GoFundMe started to send Kathy on a vacation to Morocco? Love that. But seriously, this entire exchange is a masterclass in how completely detached these Hollywood elites are from reality. Griffin, like so many of her fellow celebrity elites, thinks it's their duty as a privileged liberal to apologize on behalf of America to people who, quite frankly, aren't looking for their empty virtue signaling apologies. I really love the writers at Revolver anymore. She assumes that a working class Moroccan man, of course, despised Trump just as much as she does, because in Kathy's elitist bubble, the rest of the world must share her outrage, right? After all, how could any lowly peasant prioritize his own quality of life over a mentally ill person's pronouns? Eric Abernat, whatever. Kathy Griffin instinctively apologized for Trump to her cab driver, and the Moroccan. Did we just read this? Oh, I'm not a fan of his. He goes, "You're the lady from the picture." I love this. We got to read this. All right. Kathy Griffin instinctively apologized for Trump to her cab driver, and the Moroccan cab driver responded that Trump was the greatest in Paris. I'm the decapitated head lady. One time I was going to give a speech at Oxford. They sent a car for me. The driver was Moroccan. I did what I naturally do. I immediately apologized for Trump. Quote, I know I can't believe we voted for Trump. I get it. He goes, he's the greatest president you've ever had. Record scratch. I'm doing this backpedal thing of, oh shit, I'm not a fan of his. He goes, you're the lady from the picture. Yep, that's me. He goes, if we were in Morocco, I could cut your tongue out right now. If we were in Morocco, I could cut your tongue out right now. What world would have been a better place? Just kidding. Oh, wow. Holy crap. Here we go.
I'm the decapitated head lady. Oh, let me tell you this. So if you don't know who I am, I'm a comic, and you can Google Kathy Griffin Donald Trump head and enjoy that deep dive. So one time I was going to give a speech at Oxford, which is not even in America, it's in England. And so they invited me to do a speech about the First Amendment, which I'm a bit of an expert on, at least when it comes to comics. They sent a car for me to take me to Oxford. It was pouring rain and the driver was Moroccan. So I did what I naturally do. A lot of Americans do it. Some of you may have done it. I just immediately apologized for Trump. Like immediately, he goes, I'm from Morocco. I go, let me get this out of the way. I know. I can't believe we voted in Trump. I get it. He goes, he's the greatest president you've ever had. And I'm doing this like backpedal thing of like, oh, shit. So I go, well, I don't know about that, but I'm not a fan of his. And he goes, you're the lady from the picture. And I'm all, yep, that's me. You know, me owning it. Yep, that's me. And he goes, if we were in Morocco, I could cut your tongue out right now. He didn't cut my tongue out, which is really what we're here to discuss. I'm the dick.
Good Lord. She's just not funny.
Yeah, I mean, she's not funny. I mean, I think what she did was an extreme bad taste. But, you know, I'm also a full First Amendment absolutist.
Yeah.
You can express yourself any way you want. However, do not have to sit there and watch you or listen to you.
Exactly.
I get out.
As much as they have the right to say what they want, you have the right to say, I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah, you notice in the Constitution, you have a right to free speech. You do not have a right to not be offended.
Right. Oh, hey, we have a record 32 likes. You guys are the best. If you haven't hit like yet, please do. It helps us somehow with the algorithm.
You guys are wonderful.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you. I love how you
Right.
guys come every week, too. It's awesome. Tell your friends. Seriously.
Bring a friend.
Yeah, Carrot Top, he looks like, you know, he's an AIDS patient or something now. I mean,
Yeah, and
really bad.
Next week, I expect I will be here for the beginning of the stream.
Awesome.
So did everybody miss me? I hope people miss me.
If we tell you we did, will you still come back? Yeah, of course. I have to open the show by myself. You kidding?
You kidding?
You kidding?
But yeah, I should be able to be here for the opening of the show next week.
Cool.
Unless something comes up, which I'll let you know. Of course.
Yeah, just let me know in the email.
But you know, I got these family things.
You have my number too. Didn't we exchange numbers? I think.
Yeah, we did.
All right. You can
Yeah,
text
so I
me if
can
I don't
text
answer.
you
If I don't answer your email, just text me. I don't check email. Text, I answer all the time.
Okay. So text is quicker.
But I do check email like once a week, like my personal.
Yeah, you answer me usually quicker than that, but
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that might have been once a week then.
there you go. All
I
right.
didn't say every day. All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for being here. We love you all. Tell your friends next week, please. Tell everybody, come on, you're missing everything. It's fun. We have a blast in the chat. Everybody.
Bring them in. Bring them in. And if they got a computer in the other room, sign up there too.
Exactly. But yeah, do me a favor, guys. Give a shout out to people. Share the video. Hit like. Love you all. We're going to call it a night, guys. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Signing off.